in, but you never know what happens at this level of competition. Arjen Kremmer's there in that number 94, 51 points behind. Those three drivers really in the hot seat. Billy Musgrave trying to come back and defend that championship from last year, that national number one plate. It'll be very difficult for him, but again, stranger things have happened at this level of competition. Jay Irwin fought his way back forward as much as he could, up 6, finished in the 10th position. Conker holding on nicely there. Again, a winner here last year. And again, Conker doing a tremendous job. Folks, thank you so much for joining us here again on Kart Chaser for our free action of the Pro Shifter Kart category. On the other side of this, come on back for KC Premium members, the remainder of the main events here at MCC. Welcome back to the KC Premium members as we are getting set to go for the main events here after Pro Shifter in round 4 of the Superkarts USA Pro Tour. Mario Barrios and point leader Phil DeLeo on the front row, as DeLeo's going to get the jump here in KA100 Masters, the main event for the Masters category. 7 drivers in the field. Barrios has been the dominant factor throughout the entire weekend thus far, but from the outside of the front row, great start for Phil DeLeo. The Arizona driver rolling around the outside in what are obviously interesting conditions, dry, but maybe some of that rubber scraped off a little bit. DeLeo up to the lead. Barrios goes into second. Looks like the 432 of Junaid Din now up into the third spot. John May, podium yesterday in fourth. Josh Sarche, de facto second place in the points coming into the weekend, currently fifth, ahead of Christian Smith and Jose Eduardo de la Garza Elizondo. Not surprisingly, boom, quickly into the corner of turn number 12. Barrios, who's been, again, kind of the dominant factor on the weekend, move to the inside, and he'll take over the lead. Oh, so close of dropping a wheel coming out of turn number 14. But the forward bite there for the RPG driver, and Barrios out to the lead here at the end of lap number 1. As you saw, going from actual laps to time for the start of what was the wet weather run there in the Pro Shifter Kart category. We'll see whether or not Superkarts USA elects to go back to the lap set now that we're on, again, kind of a dry racetrack. We are expecting there's a potential for the wet weather still to come. We weren't quite ready for the weather to come right there at the end, at the start essentially of the lunch break, which led to the wet Pro Shifter session. But again, we've always thought about this potential 4 o'clock arrival time for some wet weather just in time, but would be then for the last couple of races of the day. If indeed it rolls in here sometime around 4 o'clock, there's a potential for both Mini Swift and Pro X30 to be run under wet conditions. But again, otherwise through this early part of the afternoon, 2:09 here local time, we've got dry racing. It's a good start, as we talked about, for Mario Barrios out to the early lead, 0.6 of a second on lap number 2. He goes a 1:03.1 to DeLeo's 1:03.3, so a couple of tenths of a second. The gap per lap here now for Barrios, looking to see if he can't go back-to-back on race wins here at MCC. Barrios, 4th in points after the Winter Nationals, 94 points back, but again, leveraging a strong day yesterday, qualified on the pole. A little miscue at the start where he, number 1, punched off early, and number 2 was outside the tram lines with a couple of penalties dropping him down the order for the start, at the very tail of the field for the start of the main event, but was able to come back to get the victory there. Looking to try to do it all over again here to tighten things up. Barrios leading by almost a full second now. Great fight now for third. Is this third, fourth, fifth, and sixth all together? Junaid Din, Josh Sarche, John May, Elizondo there as well. I think John May have moved into the third spot. No, the fourth rather. No, he's still P5. Everybody lined up there. I'd like to see that. Good stuff. Josh Sarche actually getting by Junaid Din, so he's up with an open racetrack. Din now trying to hold off John May. So that is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Din, May, De La Garza, Elizondo, and Smith. Nose to tail. Oh, John May thought about the inside of turn number 11 after getting a good run through 10. Janae Din looking good there in the Speed Concepts racing machine. John May. Nice move to the inside of turn 14. Book it. He's through. Din opened the door to be able to get the better run coming out through 14, and just a nice slide job move down to the inside to take the apex for May. He's got that spot. That's P4, P5. So May makes the move up. On the podium yesterday, P4 now on the racetrack. Barrios lead now 1.2 seconds as the clock ticking away here in KA 100 Master, brought to you by Avinco Tires. Fresh off his pit reporting duties throughout the day, Caleb Biesca joining me now in the booth here. Caleb, Mario Barrios slid into second after a great start for Phil DeLeo, but on that opening lap, able to get by, not surprisingly, class of the field right now.
Yeah, Mario Barrios has, again, not surprisingly, he's been lights out so far throughout the year in 2026. Always at the front of the field, always kind of a factor when it comes down to this KA Masters division. And again, a lot of hard work has gone into it, right, to get himself up to the front of this field with the Mike Rawlson Performance Group week in, week out. So great to see it. And again, this track, the conditions change so much, Rob. We were just kind of, with the wet weather tires racing in the rain and then intermediate conditions. And now this track, after speaking with Gavin Bailiff, Sean Bailiff, Finn Bailiff a lot throughout the weekend, they've been always talking about how quickly this asphalt dries off after the rain kind of falls on down. So this is why you see this kind of turnaround, right? Just 30 minutes ago we were in full wet weather conditions, and now these drivers are pretty much on slicks for the majority of it.
And have a quick look around the racetrack. We're seeing this. Those, of course, running out on rain tires on essentially a dry track. Those tires start to degrade, chunk. There is rubber all over the place right now, which could be an issue if drivers get offline a little bit. We're seeing more single file racing, but we start getting back into some of those double files. You're going to see those marbles that clag on the outside of the racetrack. So it could be interesting to see if some drivers later on in the day have trouble getting pushed outside the racing line.
And a lot of this Rhino liner as well throughout that last section. I mean, we were walking it yesterday, and there's just so much rubber that it kind of gets collected. And that was on slicks for yesterday on the Saturday. And then today, whenever you have these drivers on the wets, again, it just continues to pile up and pile up and pile up, especially with like you said, right? A lot of those tires were just completely degraded. Mateus Morgado, they looked like slicks. Marian Kremers, he was on the new set. They looked like slicks as well. And for these drivers, I mean, everything offline, it's going to be horrendous, Rob, to be out there in a turn one, going side by side, you name it. It's not going to be easy to navigate. For the 404, looks like he has a pushback bumper right now. Smith on the TKG or on the PSL Burrow Art. Looks like that, again, front bumper looks pushed in. Very loose there, just kind of dangling around there, Rob.
Got that little bit of inclination, right? Kind of tucks back in. But he is pushing hard to try to find a way by Junaid Din still. We'll look to the inside. Not quite enough there.
Yeah, and Junaid, again, not easy to get by. He's a driver that I've been very familiar with over at the Texas Sprint Racing Series. He's going to have to work a little harder for this one. As Smith on the inside, going on the front stretch, finally able to get clear on Junaid. And now it looks like Din might have another go at it, but these three going at it again. Din looking on the inside of Smith, not going to get it. And that's going to bring him back into De La Garza. But yeah, Junaid, again, week after week, it seems like the improvement is there for his son and Ibrahim and himself as well. And again, just very, very competitive when we go over to the state of Texas. They might be racing next week when we head over to Amarillo.
De La Garza was super close there. I thought he may try to take advantage of the fact that Din tried the inside of one, maybe the over-under, but couldn't quite get that done. That is the battle right now for 5th, 6th, and 7th. As John May, once he got by Din, has been able to pull away to about 3 seconds on that group. He's about 3 and a couple seconds behind Sarche last time by. He was, again, probably about 4 or 5 tenths of a second slower. Josh Sarche turning a 1:01.875. In fact, pretty much exactly the same pace as DeLeo. So very similar up front. Barrios with a 3-second lead right now. DeLeo's got about 4.5 seconds on Sarche. So not a lot going on outside of this battle right now between Din and De La Garza.
Yeah, Barrios, like you said, gone. For De La, he's just right there. Sarche, May, and this group right here of Smith, Din, and De La Garza Elizondo just very close to each other on this racetrack. just kind of hot lapping around right now. And the battle's really right here. You guys aren't missing anything up front. It's all between Janae Din, De La Garza, and Smith.
Quick look at my phone to see what we're thinking about. Rainy conditions expected around 4 p.m. is what my iPhone's telling me right now. I'm sure a lot of people with different looks at radar and potential forecasts, but yeah, there's a pretty good little line coming across. You can see where we are just to the east of Cincinnati. It's not super wide. It's not like the full-on deal coming, Caleb. I know you've been watching the radar throughout the day as well. That's just kind of one front that's coming through. But if time is correct, that would be a 4 o'clock arrival, essentially right before the drivers in the mini Swift class, and then for a wet race for Pro X30. We'll see how things play out there.
Yeah, and I know we were going back and forth as well earlier, Rob, with Xander on the clouds. It's really hard to tell because you see a dark cloud and then it kind of comes over us, and as quickly as it comes over us, it then ends up leaving. So it's hard to tell, hard to gauge when the rain's going to get here. You can look at your phone, but again, you never really know.
Xander's not in here. Good to have you in the booth. How about a fist bump on that selection today? Who picked Mateus Morgado to win in Pro Shifter? You and I. Now, I don't know whether my pick's going to be the exactly right one if we get a wet weather run in Pro X30, because you guys went for all the Brits. I went for Paulie Massimino. But, yeah, Morgado was impressive there in that race, no doubt about it.
Yeah, very, very impressive. And, again, a lot of hard work has gone for the Velocity Sodi Racing camp, right? It was last year when they started with Adrian Renadin. And then Mateus from the start of the year. There was development down in Houston over at the Winter Series. I know you weren't with us, but still it was very impressive to see, week in, week out, all the work that they were putting over at Velocity to kind of get that chassis up to speed. And you see the success they had last year as well over in Europe. Senna Van Walstein and the like, all those drivers that were over there, they were impressive at the Supernats whenever they joined us.
Such a quality product.
And it was scary to see how fast they were. And then, the Americans get the chassis that was developed over in KZ1. Mateus now has that. It's their 2026 chassis, and you see how it's working. Everything's firing off the Sony power as well. But not only that, the driver that's in it too. I was just speaking with Lucas Noguera, and he's like, look, man, rain races like that, you can – this is pretty much what Lucas told me. He said it doesn't matter who has the best engine, who has the best kart. It's who's the best driver and who has the better tires.
Well, the great thing was that in your interview with Marian Kremers, he talked about the fact that it really doesn't feel like he's super strong in those very unique conditions, right? A drying track on the wets that are now getting kind of chewed up and almost turned into slicks, like you said. It's not something you can practice for. You don't go out and say, okay, by the way, it's going to rain, then it's going to stop. Let's do a run all the way. Keep racing until we have the transition to dry. It's just not something that you would do. So it goes back on the level of the experience of any driver. He may say he's not very good at it, but obviously Kremer still did a fantastic job. Morgado just had maybe the edge there, but it's not something you can learn. So it's something that it really goes into your pure talent to be able to be strong in those kind of conditions.
And then again, whenever you think about Marian Kremers, you got to feel for the guy as well, right? How many times has he finished second, not only at the Supernats, whenever he was coming over here, was leading. I believe it could have been back in 2017 or around there where the red flag came out, and then was in the wall right there and just was never really able to go back out. So that was before my time. I had to do a lot of digging to know that, Rob. I know you were trackside whenever that happened. But look, you gotta feel for the guy, and those conditions aren't easy to navigate, nonetheless. But yeah, for Marian, I think it says a lot that the last 2 years he had over with the Tony Kart factory, I think it's no secret the Vortex probably wasn't there for him, and then you put him on something else, maybe it's a TM, maybe it's a Maranello, but he comes to life and proves and shows the world that he's still that world championship caliber driver that he was whenever he won it back in 2019.
I think that's a fantastic point, because for him to be in here, you put him with the team, you're going to be able to put the product back up front, right? That is the key. And again, a fantastic weekend overall. He won one of the heat races. Had not been for the contact over in turn number 2 with Jay Irwin, he probably would have even had another one there, some more points to add it up, but there's Charlie Smith and the Christian Smith, rather, the number 404. Let's get back to this race here real quickly. 3.5 minutes remaining. Mario Barrios with a 2.8-second lead now. Still over Phil DeLeo, his teammate Josh Sarche running in third spot. So those two drivers trekking along with Hannah Greenmeyer from Arizona, where they make PKRA home to come out here to be part of the Spring Nationals. The championship is going to definitely heat up here with Barrios and DeLeo. can't say Sarche's that far out of it as well. De facto second place in points coming into the weekend with a no-show here for Bailey Murphy. So all three of those drivers will still be thinking championship when we get to the Summer Nationals at the end of July. Otherwise, just great racing all told. Jonathan May up into the 4th spot, De La Garza and Smith. The fight was fun for a while there over the first 5 minutes with May, Din, Smith, and De La Garza, but things have kind of settled in now where there's gaps all over the racetrack. This is kind of a lapping session to the end, I would expect.
Yeah, it's a lapping session as well for the 411 of Mario Barrios, right? 2 seconds clear of De La O up at the front. So this is, again, just another feather in the hat for Mario Barrios and what he's been able to do and what he's shown, and it's really no surprise, right? He puts in a lot of work week in, week out. I saw he was racing in Peru for the first time in a couple of years. Doesn't really get the chance to race at home for Mario, and again, to be back, to be in the seat, to be racing with family, that's what's most important for the 411.
Great to have John May back here with us again. Again, looking back to the old days of in the early 2000s, running in the Superkarts USA Pro Tour in those early years of Tag Senior, when there was multiple engine packages that were run, Rotax, IAME, Vortex, Moturi 7. A number of different packages that you were able to run in that Tag Touch and Go program. Of course, since then, 2014 on, the IAME package, the Spec Series for the single speed category. But indeed, good to have him here back, a podium yesterday, currently running P4. But yeah, for a driver like Barrios, he was running back in those days as well. He's been running in the Superkarts USA Pro Tour for many years. I'd have to actually ask David to go back to the early 2010, 11, 12, 13 to see actually when we saw Barrios for the first time. He would run in the Tag Senior category as well. DeLeo lays down the fast lap though this last time by with a 60.756. Gap now 2.3 seconds. Quicker by about 0.4 of a second there. I'd have to think the Barrios is kind of checking up a little bit. He's not fully on throttle, but we'll see whether or not he turns things back around. 2.3 seconds the gap. I believe with a minute left, I think it's time plus 2 laps. We didn't get a confirmation, as I didn't get a confirmation from SKUSA there, but as we got to the end of that pro shifter race down to the time there, gave the 2 to go. So that's a good approach, an approach used by other organizations, that if you do have a wet weather race, instead of going with lap times, you'll go with the time run and then add the 2 laps at the end. Otherwise, those lap times are going to give you a super long race distance.
Yeah, again, imagine doing 25 laps in that in that pro shifter race. It felt long enough as it was, right? And you know, unfortunately for Martin Kremers, it wasn't, you know, short enough for him.
He would have liked it a couple laps short.
Yeah, he would have definitely loved a couple laps shorter. But yeah, standing on the fence line, it felt like an eternity. I'm sure for these drivers, it's going to feel like an eternity when they are if they were out there for the lap count that they had scheduled. But the time will do for them all. So for Mario Barrios, should be 2 laps to go this time by when he crosses the stripe.
Yeah, 1.8 seconds right now as DeLeo's closing up here again. Remember, it was 2.3 just a couple laps ago. Last time by, a half a second difference, 2 laps to go. 1.8 back. You have to gain him a full second. But look how much closer DeLeo is to Barrios right now. This is surprising. I figured the Barrios was going to be able to clear out. Here we go. What do we got in terms? 1:01.1 to a 1 flat 60.8, so another 0.3 of a second, 1.5. Barrios, I think, with lots of cushion still, but DeLeo making it interesting here on the final lap.
And there you see the gap of the line, a second and a half in between DeLeo and Mario Barrios as he's giving it everything he's got. Phil's trying to close on in. Barrios is trying to extend his lead as they're working their way through the S's. This time by Barrios. I think it's going to be enough here, Rob. He's getting ready to round turn number 12.
Yeah, I went back to the history books yesterday. 2013, the Superkarts USA Spring Nationals, Phil DeLeo finishing second to Andrew Zimmer in the Tag Senior category. So 13 years down the road, he is currently your point leader in the KA Master category. Barrios has a look over the shoulder. Lots of cushion there. He'll come across the line. It'll be back-to-back jacks for the RPG driver. Mario Barrios wins again. 2 here at MCC. He sweeps the main events for the Spring Nationals here in KA 100 Master. Phil DeLeo gets it down to within 0.9 of a second on the last lap as Barrios cruises through for the final couple of circuits. Josh Sarche back by 11.2 seconds, a horse battle here in this one. DeLeo does get the fast lap of the last lap of the race, but Barrio coming away with the victory. We're going to tighten things up in the championship chase for sure. DeLeo, with a couple of wins and a couple of seconds, will still hold that point lead heading to the Summer Nationals in July. Jonathan May coming home in fourth. Jose Eduardo de la Garza Elizondo in fifth. Christian Smith in sixth. Sinead Din rounding out the drivers. He only made it to lap number 10 before Din put it behind the wall and to the scales.
Yeah, unfortunate ending there for the 432 Speed Concepts racing machine of Sinead Din out early. But for Mario Barrios, business as usual and a leisurely Sunday afternoon drive. Back-to-back here at the SKUSA Pro Tour. K100 Master presented by Avinco Tires. Coming up next, K100 Junior.
Yeah, 6 races still for you. Let's have a look at that race. Good jump there from the outside. We talked about for Phil DeLeo.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh. Can I show you this cute dress I just got?
Yes, of course. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
I just love shopping.
I love shopping too.
Oh my god.
Wait, did you guys say you like shopping?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, dude, I have the perfect place to do that at. ShopPayCara.com. At ShopPayCara.com, you can get free shipping on orders $200 or more. You can get anything you want, like MXC rims, gloves, rib vests, shoes, anything that you need, all at ShopPayCara.com.
Who is he talking to?
No idea.
But we're gonna have to check it out. Sounds like a great deal.
Sure does.
You have to fight to pull ahead, to find your edge, to do whatever it takes to make you 1/10 of a second faster, smarter, more committed than the other guy, because you've got the kind of passion that can overcome the impossible. And we've got the most powerful performance race fuel available to help you do it. Sunoco Race Fuels. Take the lead.
Let's go race.
Come on, man. Hey.
Ready for action here for our third main event on the day. Back on slick tires, obviously, as we were for the K Master race, and now for KA100 Junior. Getting set to go green for what should be a much different main than what we just saw here, Rob. I'll put it that way.
I was just going to say, this is not going to be the same race as we just saw, where Mario Barrios was able to kind of stretch away and after 5 or 6 laps kind of settle into
We had enough time to run through every single graphic we could throw at you there. Lap analysis, gap at the line. I was about to throw the closing rate at you too, but
it looked good. It looked good. It looked good. But yeah, this is going to be a lot different for sure.
There won't be as much of an analysis when it comes to this one here. Here's a look at the starting grid. Travis Pettit, Nico Orbezo, Colton Schneegenberg, and Alex Chandler on row 2. Clayton Stiles, Nico Katowski, row 3.
Rest of the top 10, we'll see Ashton Moon on the inside of row 4 alongside Valentino Santi and alongside then Marco Samet, who was your winner yesterday in KA Junior. Tristan Murphy on the outside.
Row number 6, Dominic Gaddis and Isaac Payne, Darren Kidd, Ben Gloverman. And here we are as the last bit of the field files in, looking for the green flag. Travis Pettit on the right, or Bezo on the left. A lot of shoving into the box, but the lights will go, and we're underway in KA Junior.
Some good stuff to get things underway. Travis Pettit to the middle of the racetrack. Oh, one driver way off, and a couple of them climbing each other as they work their way through. I think that was the 860 who went wide out there. At least 3 drivers off to the racetrack to the right side coming out of turn number 2 over to turn number 3. Otherwise up front, clean and green. Big start here as well for Obezo. Trying to make an over-under here on Pettit coming out of turn number 7 over to the 8-9 complex through turn number 10. Pettit still leads. Will Obezo look to the inside? No. 3 drivers lining up. Maybe even a 4-driver breakaway right now, Xander, as they come back down the hill. But a defensive run to the inside for Pettit.
He'll close the inside off, and instantly Colton Schneegenberg tries to get underneath Nico Orbezo. He's going to have to really force the issue here, and he does just enough. Just a little bit of elbow grease to get by, equally some behind between another pair of BJR and Iron Rock Machines. Marco Samet and Clayton Stiles going at it. Look at Nathan Golseth further back. He had to start dead last in the pre-final, Rob. He picked up nearly 20 positions when it was all said and done and cleared to the top 10 as Schneegenberg makes our first lead change of the day.
Yeah, Colton Schneegenberg wanting to make a statement here early. Look at that. Travis Pettit says, go forward, and then immediately to go to the inside. Oh, that's something I don't like to see out of drivers because I don't trust a driver that tells me to go forward, put your head forward, and then immediately goes to the inside of me. That irks me in a big way because you're not going to get any trust from me at the end of the race after that. These 2 drivers leading up and going forward. Schneegenberg, after getting past there, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go right back by. There's a big move to the inside there as well for that Holtz Development driver. Nice move to the inside. Is that trying to pick up the numbers at the... I can't see it from here. We'll pick it up in a couple seconds. Into the 5th position or 4th position, whoever it was. I think that might have been Kidd, Darren Kidd. Again, pole yesterday. Darren Kidd trying to work his way forward, up 6 spots already. Elbows up for Darren Kidd. Great job to work his way up to P6, taking advantage of some of the chaos here early. There he is right there. Really nice move to get into 6th position. Up to P5 as he gets by Stiles as well. There's Schneegenberg back to the inside of Pettit. Like I said, no opportunity for us to work together if you're not going to trust me in the first corner. So these 2 drivers going to scrap it out here. Long way to go. Although Xander's still on time. Love to find out from SKUSA if we're going to go time for the remainder of the day.
I would imagine part of it is just to get us back onto schedule, because even though we did do the timed sessions here for both the Pro Shifter race and for KA Master, I mean, this race was slated to start and it almost got back on time. It was a couple of moments late. So yeah, maybe we go back to the 18-lap distance for the Microslift main event coming up, because this one, again, the time is based around trying to keep the lap distance the same. It's probably going to rinse out close. I mean, the KA Masters, they got, I believe, 18 or 19 completed laps on their main, so it was 3 shy. So it's not a huge swing, but it's certainly, I mean, we've seen plenty of races change complexion here over this weekend from lap 19 to lap 22.
So if you're tuning in for the KA 100 category to follow your favorite driver, it'll be the time limit plus 2 laps at the end, what we've seen here. So again, getting to the end of the time limit and 2 laps to go. Good for the drivers to understand what the situation is. The BJR drivers have got themselves back to the front. Brandon Jarts of Crack Racing have Pettit and Samet 1-2. Schneegenberg pushed back into the 3rd position. Look at this run again. Kidd keeps coming up. Here's the replay here. Look at the action we have here. Oh, a driver getting shoveled off and big time into the barriers. That was a hard hit of a driver on the outside coming into turn number 1. Would love to get the number on that Kart again, but just on the outside, someone moved across. Being told a 931, the driver,
831.
Probably 831. Hudson Hidalgo was the driver who went off there.
And you can see just that quick moment as well. We'll have a look at that in a moment there. Scary moment for Hudson Hidalgo. Driver okay. Caleb Viesca will be able to get us some more reports as I allow him to get back to doing what he's doing. To be fair, Rob, at least he did do some work today. He joined you for the KA Masters race. So, all right, call it 15 minutes, maybe 20 if we're being a little extra eager.
And he had to fill. Let's be real. There wasn't a lot of racing for us to call that time either.
No, there was not. There was a Mario Barrios show. I mean, at the very end, Phil DeLeo made a run at him, but just too little too late. In this case, I mean, that would have been another race as well to talk about the difference of a couple extra laps, right? 19 laps on that one. This one will probably go either 18 or 19 as well with the timer at the moment. 12 minutes to go, battling here. This is Clayton Stiles in that Iron Rock machine, and that is Darren Kidd, yesterday's top qualifier on the Holtz driver development machine. And Marco Sammet, we didn't even expect that one at all. It looked like they were going to go top 3 single file there, Rob, and then all of a sudden he's alongside. Now he's on the wrong side.
Yeah, a bunch of chaos there. Kidd tried to cut the corner in turn number 11, lost the spot back to Stiles, and you see more action happening here. Here's Kidd down to the inside once again. Kidd very aggressive, having started outside the top 10, up on the wheel, started 13th, and he is pushing hard. He'll go to third now for Holtz DD. Up front, though, it's still, I believe, Pettit leading the way. Schniegenberg runs into second spot. Again, they were locked in from the very beginning, locked again here as we work our way through lap number 6. So those front 2 drivers seem to be the 2 of the quickest. Trouble there for Stiles, dropping a wheel coming out of 7, leveraging that curbing on the outside, but you have to dance the razor's edge there. You drop a wheel, and the thing's going to start to tank slap on you, back, forth, to come back on the racetrack. Normally those on the inside able to get a run. Schniegenberg back to the inside in turn number 13, book it. He'll go back to the lead. Colton Schniegenberg will lead lap number 6 across the line.
Big time opportunity for Colton Schniegenberg, but again, just as quickly as he gets there, Travis Pettit's back around him. Now Darren Kidd closes on in. Nico Orbezo right onto the heels as well. It's 4 deep, nose to tail. Ruben Gutierrez again to the fastest lap of the race, that time by. Here as we approach halfway, and we're back to the inside defending here. You've got 4 different teams, albeit all in the same manufacturer in that front pack. 5 teams now, actually 6 if you go back to Nathan Gulseth in 6th. Another different operation with Rawlson Performance Group for Gutierrez in 7th. You have to go all the way back to 8th to find someone that when this race is all said and done is going to be parked somewhere nearby, one of the other drivers in the main group. So there are no friends at the moment, and we are seeing that on full display by their actions. Pettit again covering inside of 12, inside of 13 here. Stacking them up, Katowski now to the bumper. Gutierrez, and it goes all the way to Tristan Murphy, Rob, in 11th.
I think some racing you'd say, hey, listen, 4 drivers lined up front, maybe they'll start to work together a little bit, but the tone was kind of set early when Pettit got into behind Schniegenberg over in turn number 4, told him to move forward, look forward, then immediately dove to the inside. Schniegenberg, I think, probably said, okay, gloves are off for the rest of this one here. We're obviously not going to work together at all. In fact, everybody looking over the shoulder every time they're going to come into a corner. Is somebody going to send it inside me? Am I going to be able to make a racing line? I'm going to have to cover to the bottom. And that's why we got so many guys lining up. No one running racing lines. Like, we're going all the way back here now. Who's in the 857? That's all the way back to Dominic Gaddis. So I want to say right now it's probably the top 11 drivers in the group right now, all the way back to Tristan Murphy. Then you got to go over a second back to Ashton Woon. There's the tail of that group there. Well, the way they're racing, we're going to see Woon in here for sure. We know he's got the pace to get up in this group. So call it the front dozen right now. And then after that, you've got Mateo Calderon and Braden Wagner going at it for 13th and 14th.
So much action here. Just getting to halfway as Ashton Woon arrives on the scene to join as well. Caleb Viesca has a bit of an update on that scary moment for Hudson Hidalgo earlier in the race. We didn't really capture it, but we saw the go-kart mangled and off to the side. Caleb, what do you have?
Yeah, thank you, Xander. Just to confirm, Hudson Hidalgo was up, gave me a thumbs up, said he was A-OK, standing by with Sean Bailiff right now, just debriefing the incident, but he's got his helmet off, and he's enjoying the race from the sidelines.
Certainly would have enjoyed to see him on the racetrack, and I'm sure he would have as well, but happy to hear that kid is okay. That's a scary impact right at the beginning of the barrier line, Rob.
Yeah, it looked to me like a driver on the outside, at least 2, maybe almost 3 wide, kind of hip checked him, made the move from kind of left to right to set up for the corner, and Hidalgo was there. He had the spot, and that driver kind of hip checked him across. At that point, dropped the right side wheels, and again, we talked about the fact that you're a passenger at that point once you get onto the grass. So good to see that Hudson's okay. Got the thumbs up to Caleb. That's all we want to see when the drivers have issues here getting into the barriers.
Now, with that lap completed, again, Travis Pettit continues to hold the field at bay. Nico Orbezo into second. Nico Katowski now behind Colton Schniegenberg. Fast lap goes to Orbezo. 2, 3 wide. What a move for Nico Katowski, able to come out of turn number 3 with second. And all of the bogging down of the motors that happened behind the leader. And even with Pettit, he's still now right on the heels of the 802 machine. And look who also has joined in. That's another one of the Speed Concepts Racing entries. Ben Gleberman back up the leaderboard. He started towards the front, got shuffled back. He's now in the top 10 comfortably in 7th.
Yeah, a lot of action here, and the way they're not really running the racing line. Finally, I think for the first time down to 12 in a while, they've actually run the racing line. Pettit on the outside there with Katowski right behind him. Look at this lead group, and again, I told you that Woon would get there, and he is. That is back to likely, I think, 11th spot. Woon's going to try to get a run here on the 853 of Gleberman. Not quite sure if that's going to stick yet. No, he's got to tuck back in again. Right behind them, reeling him in, though, Calderon. Mateo Calderon with some open racetrack. He's closing up on Woon now. So this group, because the leaders aren't playing with each other at all. In fact, Katowski going by turn number 4 to put the barrel art out front for TKG. Another new leader. Pettit back to the inside of Orbezo. Samet there as well. All this racing up front means we have a 12 or a 13 car lead pack.
And again, it could quickly become even more because the rest of the field is a couple seconds away, but not a lifetime away. Braden Wagner, Mason Moses, Dominic Gaddis. I mean, they're latching on. It's kind of increments of half second to a second through the pack, and as we get another lead change here, Marco Samet as well up to 3rd. This is where, this point in the race, that many karts together, it's going to kind of re-rack itself and split them up again. We've got a little gap now for the top 2 if they want to use it. Katowski and Pettit off the back of that pass for 3rd, and a pass back for 5th as well. Schniegenberg on Orbezo. New fast lap all the way back in 11th. Mateo Calderon, he's up 11 spots, by the way, from 22nd on the grid. Latching onto the lead group as Gutierrez moves forward.
Yeah, plus 18 for Gutierrez as well. What a great drive to get himself up into 7th right now. Started 25th. Gutierrez up on the wheel in the 822. You see him there mid-pack. Gutierrez keeps marching his way forward. A tremendous weekend. Xander, we kind of talked about it being the U.S. breakthrough weekend for Gutierrez to put his name essentially on the map here in American karting. Great place to do it here at MCC. All part of the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nats. Look at that diver down to the apex to get by Kidd. What a fantastic move to the inside. Gutierrez up on the wheel. Darren Kidd goes back a couple of spots.
He'll get a big run back at Gutierrez. Let's see if he tries to answer the call into 1. He'll instead tuck in line, and I think that's a smart play for the race. Not the best maybe for Kidd. That was good there to cover into 2, and it's going to catch Orbezo out. He goes back 2. Murphy forward, along with Golseth. So lots of up and down movement. Ruben Gutierrez, the hard charger, by the way. Rob, he started 25th.
Yeah.
That's 20 gain.
Fantastic.
Now he's got some clear racetrack out front and out back to show what he can really do as he tries to hunt towards Colton Schniegenberg.
So let's just use this as the overall, because people have said, some people say it's hard to pass at MCC. We think obviously the other. There's a lot of overtaking opportunities. How many times have we talked about guys so far this weekend, Xander? I know we're almost done. We got a handful of main events left. But drivers coming up plus 20. If it's a track you can't pass, you're not going plus 20. I'm sorry to tell you that. It means you can pass. You just have to be fast and be able to do it at the right spot.
Certainly. I think the pro shifters have a bit of an argument. They have a naturally narrow line. A lot of the hairpins in the single speeds already lend themselves to a kind of narrow entry, but it comes down to this here. Nico Katowski making that pass on Travis Pettit. We've seen races, Rob. It was one of the first major events we ever covered here was the U.S. Pro Kart Series 3 years ago. Harley Keeble white line from green to checker in that one. And so it is possible because every major passing zone is followed up by a corner the other direction. So if you leave the door open, you can have a pass like that. An easy move there for Marco Samet to go to the lead for the first time, I believe, in this final. Crazy enough with all the movement that's happened. However, if you are really good at parking the bus and with a pushback bumper class like K8 Junior where the drivers behind are a little afraid to root you out of the way, you can certainly white line for multiple laps. We saw Pettit put it on display there before. That does allow passing further back in the field. No different than in IndyCar and Formula One and open wheel racing where maybe the passing for the lead isn't possible, but if everybody's got dirty air, it is possible further back in the pack. So that same dynamic kind of happens when the leader white lines. But I think some of the whining, for lack of a better word, about the lack of passing is just it is possible to really defend for the lead without a whole lot of consequence because every major corner goes back the other way. But if you leave the door open, if you're running the normal line, again, there's a lot of places. And there are a couple of places, even when defending, that you can catch guys out by. So I'm with you. This track races exceptionally well. And sometimes, and I've said it a lot now since I've been in the booth over the last 5 years, more than doing anything else, it's fun for us when the drivers are in a box and they have to squirm, and sometimes they don't like it, but it's actually the best kind of racing we get. How many Supernats layouts have you heard over the years of not being a good racing layout, not going to pass, and it produces some of the best races in history?
Yeah, preach. I love that for sure. BJR drivers up front. We got 4 drivers in the middle of a scrap right now. Throw Schniegenberg in there with Katowski. Schniegenberg lays the side pod to Katowski on that one. The Brandon Jarsakrak drivers running up front, Samet and Pettit. Pettit's now gone to the lead, Samet to second. And let's jump into this again. 2 minutes remaining till we see the 2 to go sign. Very likely 4 laps remaining in this main event for KA100 Junior. Travis Pettit put himself back out front. Yesterday's winner, Marco Samet, right there as well. Does he go back-to-back as BJR trying to keep the roll running? They won both of the junior categories yesterday, trying to see if they can't come away with another one in junior here today.
Here's what's unfortunate for Ruben Gutierrez. All that hard work driving through the field, I don't know if they were aiming for a bit more of a short run setup or a lot of it was on the young man's mentality and racecraft more so than pace. Even with the passes we've just witnessed here for the lead, the leaders were still pulling away from Gutierrez. However, the pack behind him was catching him, and they are about to get there, even with the battling going on amongst themselves for 6th through 8th. Tristan Murphy, Nico Orbezo, Nathan Golseth. They are reeling in the top 5, the last spot in it, in Ruben Gutierrez. They'll be there to pounce in a moment. The teammates stay in lockstep, and they might stay this way because we've seen this story before. It already happened yesterday in a bit of X30 Junior action where Marco Samet was essentially the wingman for Travis Pettit, kind of got bit. Pettit got away a little bit off the battling. Murphy ended up getting back to him, but then it was a little too late. One mistake by Tristan Murphy. He only had one real good shot at Travis. He took it. It didn't stick, and Travis got away. But this formation, we actually saw, Rob, just 2 weeks ago at Travis's debut with BJR at the Star Series in Newcastle. Those two, they have already, in just 2 race weekends, been working together like they've been doing it since they were 5.
And I said before, when Pettit came on with Brandon Jarsakrak Racing, no doubt lighting a fire under Marco Samet, plus the extra amount of data that he's been able to look at, the overlay, the opportunity to sit down with Austin Miles and really have a look at where both these young drivers are quick. They're going to feed off each other. White flag flying this time by. Katowski back there, similar lap times as the leaders. Here we go, down to the bottom. Is it going to be Schniegenberg that comes out? He tries to go to the outside. Pettit still the leader. Schniegenberg looks to the inside of 3, not enough. They're still running up front. Quick look over the shoulder for Samet. Can't quite get to the bottom. Katowski arrives back on the scene. Final lap here for KA Junior.
Best exit possible for Marco Samet to put his focus onto Travis Pettit. They both were able to get away. And now Schniegenberg having to deal with Katowski. Katowski frustrated. He's watching that gap to the top 2 get further and further up the road. The BJR duo, they have a chance to go at it, but of course they don't want to ruin the 1-2 finish for the team. This will be a huge points haul for both of them to elevate Marco Samet back into the top 10, potentially even the top 5 for Travis Pettit to add on to what's already been just a banner year. Both of them with a win already, and now in the 3rd opportunity on the weekend, Brandon Jarsakrak Racing will go 1-2 once again. Travis Pettit wins, Marco Samet 2nd in KA Junior.
Coming across the line, it looks like Nico Katowski just pipping Schniegenberg by 34 thousandths of a second at the line. Katowski was not happy coming out of turn number 7. I think he expected they could stay in the fight. They do not. And that allows a 2-second gap from Samet back to Katowski. He does get on the podium. Pettit and Samet, Brandon Jarsakrak Racing 1-2. Wow, they have dominated the junior category so far. 3 for 3 here as part of the Spring Nationals. Colton Schniegenberg and Tristan Murphy for RPM, 4th and 5th. Ruben Gutierrez, still another drive. Remember, deep in the field, folks, plus 19 for the Mexican driver, working his way up to 6th. Nathan Golseth, 7th. Nico Orbezo, 8th. Ashton Wu, 9th. And rounding out your top 10, plus 4 for Ben Gleiberman in the number 853. Other big moves, Cameron Johnson up 18 to the 12th position. I think that's probably the biggest mover other than those that work their way forward, like Ruben Gutierrez. But again, the remainder of the results here for the KA100 Junior category. What a race for Travis Pettit and Marco Samet. That thing was frenetic the entire race long, the entire time limit, and the last 2 laps. You just didn't know who was going to be up front. Didn't seem like there were any partners or any teammates at all for the first half of that race. In the end, though, the 2 BJR cars found each other and were able to come away, and they're both going to celebrate now down here at the scales.
So as they begin to roll through the scale line here, Marco Sammet, Travis Pettit. Phenomenal performance, and Travis Pettit makes it 2 wins over 3 attempts so far here at MCC. But let's take a look at what that does now as he rolls through the scales to the championship standings. We talked about it throughout the day, throughout the weekend, pre-drop versus with the drop. Well, pre-drop standings for Travis Pettit, 1,007 points, 159 up on Tristan Murphy and Ashton Woon. If you were to take the best 3 out of 4 on the season thus far, not a lot changes at the top 2 spots. It gets a little bit shorter, but still, if you were only going off the best 3 out of 4 rounds, Hurricane Trav still has an 83-point unofficial point lead over Tristan Murphy. 115 back to Ashton Woon, and Marco Sammet off the back of 2 phenomenal days of win yesterday and a second today, elevates himself into the top 10 in the points. He has another 2 really good rounds at Newcastle. It'll be a long shot to catch his teammate, but he might be able to snag a 2 or a 3 plate at the rate this season's going, because this duo, they have absolutely put the grid on notice. That was perfect teamwork of making a couple attempts at some moves without potentially disrupting the 1-2. I don't think you could coach that one any better, Rob.
Yeah, and when they were working there trying to get around Schniegenberg, it was, again, the 2 versus 1, right? They played it correctly, each making moves. Schniegenberg was able to come back and get aggressive as well, but in the end, those 2 drivers able to get out front, and it was really the attack further back from Katowski that allowed held Schniegenberg back, I believe.
So here we go. 2 main events there. After our Pro Shifter race, our main event number 4 on the day. Coming up next, Micro Swift. We return.
Hey guys, another Kart Chaser driver fitness episode with me, Chris G. And today, we're doing some upper back movements. Here we go. Exercise number 1 today we're doing is the reverse grip lat pull down. This exercise movement is one of my favorites because it works your grip strength, your biceps, and most importantly, works that lat area that also protects those ribs in the seat. Exercise number 2 today, the dumbbell chest supported row. Don't forget, good stretch at the bottom, and bring them right to your hips like that, keeping your back nice and arched, shoulders back. Think about having good posture in the cart. Exercise number 3, the inverted Smith machine rows. Grip strength, back strength, overall amazing workout. Thanks again for joining me on another Kart Chaser driver fitness episode with me, Chris G. Race ready training that carries into real life.
IAMI USA West is the official West Coast importer for IAMI engines and parts. Our dedicated and knowledgeable staff have a combined 50+ years experience in the sport and can help you with all of your needs. Call us today or visit our website to find your local dealer to shop.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad. Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently. with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Motorsports is reinventing itself, and our mission is to accelerate this transformation so that it becomes even more efficient, cleaner, more spectacular, and more sustainable. Welcome to the next generation of motorsport. TotalEnergies and Peugeot co-developed the 9X8, an eco-responsible hybrid electric hypercar capable of outstanding performances.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation. Kart Sim Pro North America. Featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data, Kart Sim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, Kart Sim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. Kart Sim Pro North America. Use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.
Ready for action for another one. Micro Swift onto the circuit here. Sun beginning to shine at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Here's a look at how they'll stack up for the main. Bo Wyatt and Jack Katowski on the front row. Shep Sullivan, Liam Compatiello on row number 2.
Kip Naus and Emma Dalton will be on row 3. Benjamin Monroy and Carson Bishop row 4. JJ Deschamps and Rodolfo Garza cap off the top 10.
Dylan Merchandini and Andres Marcelo Pena back on row 6, and there is a problem further back for championship contender Tristan Francisco. Whoa. Slowing here as they roll around towards the main straight. Ready for another dash of action. Here we go, folks. Just about that time to let them loose once again, Micro Swift style. We are waiting for them to get into the lanes. We will wait to see what the official decision is on the distance, but it'll be somewhere in the midst of 15 to 18 laps around MCC. Round 4 for Micro Swift is green.
Trey Sanders, who finished second yesterday, a deep start as well. We'll watch for him, see what he does here on the opening circuit. Otherwise, the drivers up front doing a great job. Bo Wyatt goes to the lead coming out of turn number 3. He's got Jack Katowski right with him. Shep Sullivan slotting into the 3rd spot. So away right now with the drivers here in the Micro Swift Final. Round 4 of the Superkarts USA Spring Nationals here at MCC, and thus far the opening lap looking good. The drivers quickly into single file out of turn number 7. Bo Wyatt looking to stretch away through turn 10 back to 11. Didn't use any of the curb there. In fact, missed the apex by probably 2 or 3 feet there. That is going to bring Katowski right to the rear bumper. Just couldn't quite get it down to the apex. Didn't hurt him that much as a 4-driver pack has developed up front already. You can see the little bit of a gap there back to the next group that kind of fights it out behind coming through turn number 14, but through 15 and 16, 4 drivers out front to get things underway.
That'll put the first lap in the books, and Rob, all stand corrected, checking on the SKUSA official WhatsApp channel. All the events, no matter what here, based on the call made right before the Pro Shifters went green, will be the time distance. It'll be 17 minutes plus 1 lap for all main events through to the end of the day, no matter what. And again, that's probably a smart decision for one, to kind of keep confusion down. Just one call, make it, stick to it with no more gaps in the day, because we're going continuous racing here on out. But equally, we still don't know. Right now, it does look great out here. The sun is shining. The track is dry. We've been on slick tires. Once we got done with that Pro Shifter main with a destroyed 34 sets, well, about 28 sets
exactly.
of Avinco wets and a handful of slicks that went out there and attempted it. So that means that, again, every race to the end, 17 minutes plus a lap, and that's roughly the time allotted. Circuit regular lap times, they were about a lap or two short from that full distance, but still pretty close to right about what the entry fee covers and what the timetable is built for, as Bo Wyatt will take us through lap 2 ahead of Katowski and Shep Sullivan doing a great job hanging on strong, along with Compatiello. This is a big gap that's formed because they've stayed in lockstep here.
Yeah, they got a second and a half on Dusty Strayer. I mentioned Trey Sanders, who started 17th. 2 laps in, he's almost split the difference already. Currently running in 9th, +8 for Trey Sanders. So the recovery happening, although 4-driver breakaway here. May not give him too much more, as he's going to try to close now up on Carson Bishop. Last time 0.8 of a second quicker, so watch for Trey Sanders to potentially get up into the 8th and 7th spots here over the next couple laps. Otherwise, 4-driver breakaways. Xander talked about Wyatt, Katowski, Sullivan, and Compatiello, the drivers here who run 1st through 4th. 1st and 2nd locked and loaded. Sullivan about a length back. Same goes for Compatiello. As you can see, Katowski right there is the wingman for Bo Wyatt as these drivers run away here. Remember, you go back to yesterday and both Katowski and Wyatt on the podium. Wyatt with the win, Katowski 3rd behind Sanders. So both these drivers trying to do back-to-back podium finishes. Wyatt looking for win number 2 on the weekend.
Yeah, Bo Wyatt turning his championship into what could be a very big statement if he can pull off the sweep here in Cincinnati. I mean, to have the speed that he had in Tucson, to back that up here with his performances over the spring and into the summer has been unreal to watch. It was a matter of time, really, before the first win comes, and so many young drivers, Rob, we see it all the time, that once they get their first, the floodgates open. That seems to be the case with Bo Wyatt, and, well, probably the worst weatherman on earth. Caleb Viesca is down. He's got some kind of weather update for us. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, well, thank you very much there, Xander. Look, the sun's back out, sitting under the umbrella here, enjoying this amazing Micro Swift race. Visited the Sugared Spoon over there, rehydrating here a little bit. Phenomenal. Delicious. Sun's back out. And I don't think it's going to rain.
Can you believe this guy, Rob?
Might finish the day in rain.
Hey, Caleb, toast to you and I scoring, toast to you and I picking the right winner in Pro Shifter. I haven't had a chance to rub it in Xander's face yet.
All right. Okay. We still got one more. We still got one more on the day, boys. Pro X30's coming up later. Whatever. Caleb, get back to work. Find something useful instead of hanging out. If anyone in the paddock sees him, smack him upside the head for me. Here's a look at something actually of a weather update. While he's enjoying the clear skies, check out the wall that is headed towards us. And I'm not talking about the red and white barriers around the MCC Kartplex at all. There is still more weather potentially on the way. We'll see what happens as it gets closer to us. For the moment, things are nice and clear, but again, there's a look at the radar in the bottom corner of your screen. And in terms of the on-track action, Caleb's enjoying taking it in. We're enjoying bringing it to you because it's starting to heat back up again. First lead change of the race. Jack Katowski back around Bo Wyatt here today to lead some more laps. The 204 machine has had a lot of speed here at TKG's home weekend, but certainly these 2 weekends probably should have had Jack coming home with more hardware than what has been the case thus far. He'd like to right a few of those wrongs with a big-time win here on Sunday, but Bo Wyatt gave him only about 4 turns there, Rob, maybe 2 passing zones, and took it right back.
Yeah, the old sign, once you've taken the lead, you start pointing forward, maybe tapping the back of the helmet. No one's heeding that advice or that request so far here today, as indeed Bo Wyatt going right back by. It was a nice pass for Katowski to the inside of turn number 13. Tracked him through turn 12, the big sweeping left-hander, but then tightened it up coming in and was able to get the pass done on the entry to 13. Wyatt just came right back at him and made the move down to the inside of turn number 2. back down here to the scene of the crime. The last pass for Jack Katowski. Does he do it again? Nope. Sit back in there for a bit. Long way to go. Over 10 minutes still to go in this one here. Shep Sullivan holding into third. I will say this. We talk a lot about this strategy as well, Xander, when you got 4 guys or 5 guys up front. Always try to drop the last guy off the back of the peloton, and that is Compatiello, who was in P4, still rather P4, was part of a 4-driver battle. That 4 drivers is now 3 drivers, a trio up front right now. And to be honest, it looks to me like Shep Sullivan may be having a little bit of trouble holding on. They're not racing up front on him. He hasn't lost that much ground yet. But for Wyatt and Katowski, their goal, of course, was to try to drop Sullivan off as well.
Oh, Tristan Francisco, this Sunday just continues to get worse. Something happened, and obviously it looks like he's recovering from a spin down at turn number 2. We'll see if we had any kind of look at it. He was obviously a little further back. We saw him struggling for the power to get underway on the outlap, and this round 4 of the championship not going the way of the 217, the young Canadian who was obviously a major factor yesterday, and today in the pre-final had an issue as well. Going out on the final lap.
Yeah, started 25th, got himself up to 11th. He was plus 14, Xander. Had got himself back to where he at least needed to be to potentially fight for a top 10 run. And the speed was there, 104.3, so almost lead pace. But indeed, that spin's going to drop him to the tail of the field. It's going to help move other drivers up. Trey Sanders, I'd mentioned, just got by Benjamin Monroy on that last lap, as did Cohen Scott. So Trey Sanders plus 11 already, started in 17th. He's up into 6th right now. Trey Sanders, who finished 3rd yesterday, came in second yesterday, came into the weekend sitting in second place in points, just 35 behind Tristan Francisco. This is going to open things up with Francisco falling down the order again.
Yeah, this is going to change things up quite a bit here. And again, we're trying to get the kind of live look at everything for you here with the adjusted pre-final results. Once you factor those in, and then we get a look at where they're running on the racetrack, and again, what this will do to Tristan Francisco's championship hopes now, going up in smoke, it appears, with the issue early on. This is further back, by the way. The big mover has been Dusty Strayer. He's cracked the top 5 from way back, but Trey Sanders has also been on the move. And further back here is where we're finding some action. Cohen Scott, Kip Knaus here. This is edge of the top 10. Benjamin Monroy, he just lost the 8 spots. This is 8th, back to about 12th right there, to the likes of Andres Marcelo Pena, to Dylan Merchandini and Emmett Dalton, all of whom started around those spots. Dalton started a little higher. Sadly, he has slipped backwards 7 spots to be exact. Started up in the 6th position. Cohen Scott, on the other hand, up 7 spots to 7th on the Kiddix USA Black and Orange Kart Republic. That bright yellow helmet there leading the pack.
Wyatt, Katowski, Sullivan, Compatiello top 4. Then you go 2.9 seconds back to Dusty Strayer. And in fact, Compatiello's fall back even more, 1.7 seconds behind Shep Sullivan. So is a 3-driver group up front. Sullivan is right there still. But again, keying on this battle here a little bit further back, as Xander had mentioned, 8th on back for these drivers here. They work their way out of turn 11 down to 12. This is back to the lead trio. You can see how they've left Compatiello alone. Sullivan still clutching on to that front-running duo.
It's impressive that Shep has been able to stay in this kind of purgatory level range, just a car length to 2 or 3 car lengths away. I mean, this lap right here might be the biggest gap he's had back from the 2 of them. There is no room for error for Shep at this point. There is a huge gap back to Compatiello. So if he loses touch at all with the top 2, there is no safety net to push him back forward. Any mistake, any missed corner, any misjudged curb hit, because again, the S's here at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati are super tough to navigate and to hit that right every single time, especially in these little cars. And yet, Shep is staying right there with these 2 leaders against their will and attempts right now to try and push away from. Look at the run he just got going through 11. That was a great corner. Closes back up, even with Katowski shoving Bo Wyatt along on the short shoot to 12.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's having some great runs here. And again, hoping for that one more maybe overtake. You guys swap the top spot one more time for me. Every time they do that, Sullivan right back on top of them because they lose so much in terms of exit speed. Another big run down the straightaway. Sullivan has a look over the shoulder. It's now at least probably over 2 seconds now back to Compatiello. Across the line. Yeah, call it 2.6. This lead group pulling away. In fact, Compatiello has got to step things up a little bit. Lost a couple of tenths of a second to Dusty Strayer back in 5th. But you can see how it's kind of an accordion effect here for Sullivan. He'll lose a bit clunch it back, gain it back a bit, lose a bit more. He needs them to be fighting up front if this is going to be a two-driver battle here pretty quickly with the two drivers who were on the podium yesterday, Bo Wyatt and Katowski, 1-2 on the racetrack, 1-3 on the podium yesterday.
If we take a look at the top three in the width drop standings right now, this will tell a very interesting story here, Rob. Jack Katowski had an issue, I believe back at Tucson, that took him out and DQ'd in post-race tech. Obviously nothing of that young man's accords whatsoever. And on top of that today, Tristan Francisco, he would obviously drop today's round, and it's still off the best 3 out of 4 point scores so far in the season. If they finish as they are right now, with Shep Sullivan owning the fast lap time, so those 10 bonus points away, but a full haul for Bo Wyatt. 3 out of 4 rounds, and he would have a 90-point margin back to Trey Sanders and 10 more back from Trey to Tristan Francisco. That is a huge cushion to enter the Summer Nationals with, Rob.
Yeah, no doubt about that, especially not having a drop that he needs to worry about yet, right? You're able to kind of go into the Summer Nationals and really get at it. Actually, you go for another consistent result in round 5, and then you just hammer down in round number 6 to find out, because you'll know at that point, doing the math, where you could finish to essentially lock things down over the drivers right behind you. So Bo Wyatt in a great spot for Team Bennick. And again,
this would be pre-drop as well here. Just wanted to show this while we had it on as well, just to show the consistency of Bo Wyatt, that he improves his delta over the field when you take out the drop and you go over the points hauled over the first 4 rounds to 117 to Trey Sanders. And of course today, looming DNF for Tristan Francisco. Penalties or DQs might bump him up a little bit, but that obviously tells you that basically Francisco's going to have to be inch perfect in Newcastle, and he's still going to need some troubles on both days for Bo Wyatt, because he's going to have essentially a drop round in the bank to burn if he wants to. And while we have that up, and we'll take that away for the moment because a lot hasn't changed, what will also tell us a story is the lap-to-lap head-to-head of either one of your top 2 drivers versus Shep Sullivan. I feel a little bad, like I almost jinxed it about how good Shep was doing over the last couple of laps, because he had been holding even to the top 2, and yet the last couple of times around, he has stayed consistent at a 104.3, but unfortunately, Jack Katowski and Bo Wyatt, they have improved their rolling pace to a 104 flat and a 104.1, and they have opened the gap up, and he's just about fully lost touch with the top 2.
Yeah, still for Shep, though, staring at his first Superkarts USA Pro Tour podium, so
indeed,
if he can pull that one in, that would be great for that young man to try to see if he can't step up onto the third spot of the step of the box, rather. But hey, hold on, we're not done. Wyatt and Katowski still have to race, because you guarantee that Katowski's going to try to find a way by 3 minutes plus a couple laps still to go, and they haven't started racing up front. Katowski, they are Sullivan 1.2 back now, another 104.4, lost 2 or 3, maybe 4/10 of a second to the leader. He's just got to keep digging right now, because they are eventually going to race. We'll see how long till Katowski tries to see if he can go by for the race lead.
Andres Marcelo Pena looking on Benjamin Monroy here in this fight further back with 2.5 minutes plus a lap to go as they go through turn number 2 all the way back to the 2:11 of Emmett Dalton. They've got a little gap back to Wiley Lee, who runs in the 14th spot. And as we go side by side here, further back in this fight for the back of the top 10, one of the 2 drivers here, Jack Katowski, his mentor, Diego Ramos, standing on the fence here, watching along, probably nervously, with Caleb.
Yeah, Diego, this one getting ready to draw to a close. We're watching Jack try and pick up his first win of the weekend. Just kind of tell me about it. What do you want to see out of your driver here?
And for sure, the first place, he's getting really smart. Like I'm really proud of him. He's doing like an awesome job. Like if you see him like a year ago, the improvement that he was doing, it's incredible. And then let's see. Always the racing micro is tough, always close. But I think he's in a good shape now. He started pushing and then open from the third guy, and then it'll be probably 1v1 in the last lap. And we'll see. I hope he wins and brings this home.
I know you guys practice that 1v1 situation a lot. What's the biggest thing that you tell him to get through those situations?
I mean, I always tell him to be cool in the last, like last 2 laps, because sometimes he was too aggressive and then he loses for himself. But I think he's getting there. Let's see. Probably the guy's gonna block, see if he can cross him, and yeah. But when we practice a lot, defense, overtake, aggressive. Because now I just need to chew him down.
There you go, Diego. Best luck in your race as well, and we'll wish Jack the best of luck here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So they're right around that moment where we might have one lap after this one. This should be about 2 laps to go. 64 seconds on the average lap pace, 65 seconds on it. They were at the line just shy of the 1 minute marker. So watching Bo Wyatt and Jack Katowski kind of run this clock out, if you will, here, Rob, until we get to the nitty gritty and they begin to duke it out. And again, like you said, Shep Sullivan already on for a career high. First career SKUSA Pro Tour podium looming. Depending what happens in the aftermath here, he's 2 seconds back, so we won't necessarily be able to play spoiler at the rate things are going on track without some major calamity, but we've seen crazier.
Yeah, the 2 leaders have pulled away far enough that Sullivan's not going to take advantage of any kind of battle there. You can see them working there on the top screen. That is your 2 leaders, Bo Wyatt and Jack Katowski. Will follow that battle below as well. That is Pena, Monroy, Merchandani running there in the 9th, 10th, and 11th spot. White flag will fly this time by. Final lap here. You see Sullivan in the back. Here we go. Wyatt's going to go down to the bottom of the racetrack. Final circuit. We get an over-under out of Katowski. Looks to the inside. He's there to the bottom. A little bit of side-by-side, a little contact mid-corner. You can see that the 251 of Wyatt came across the racetrack a bit. Katowski's gone to the lead as they come out of turn number 3.
This is going to be wild here on this final lap. Lots of battles across the racetrack. Jack Katowski, Bo Wyatt duking it out. The battle for 9th at the bottom of the screen there. Benjamin Monroy, Andres Marcelo Pena, 6 deep as we watch Katowski cover through turn number 7. And here we go for the final half a lap. Katowski versus Bo. Oh, contact in the S's, nearly together as they roll down to turn number 11. This one will get crazy on the final run up and over the hill. Last time to the back section of the racetrack here for the 2 leaders. Shep Sullivan closing into view.
Didn't think Sullivan could be there, but he is. He's closing quickly. Watch for the move to the inside. Cover down the bottom for Katowski through turn number 13, 14. Shep Sullivan trying to close. It's not going to be enough. I think we got a good enough of a run here for Katowski trying to win here at TKG's home track. Twin checkers are out. Cross the line. Katowski wins in Micro Swift, round number 4 of the Superkarts USA Pro Tour.
Here's a look at that group further back as well. Oh no! Tristan Francisco had just gotten to this group. He had just started making all those points up, and he gets spun around at the edge of the top 10. Oh no, the heartbreak.
And that was Merchandani up in the air after contact tire to tire.
Oh, what a great job covering all the activity there, because that is huge in the championship implications. Jack Katowski keeps the fight alive with a big-time win and performance here when it mattered the most in a head-to-head battle with Bo Wyatt. Shep Sullivan almost steals it away, gets down to within 0.3 of a second. And sadly, for Tristan Francisco, he'll cross the line all the way down in 24th. All that hard work to claw his way back up the leaderboard, Rob. And in the final 2 turns, it goes awry again.
You know, you're battling hard. Everybody's battling hard for positions there, and it doesn't take much. Hopefully we'll get a chance to have a look at that replay. But Katowski winning by just over 1.5 over Bo Wyatt. A little bit of contact there. Fantastic pass down in turn number 2 as Wyatt tried to shut the door. Sullivan, we thought he was too far back, but man, he was close enough to potentially challenge, but he is on the podium for the first time with his 2 Bennecks there. Great job for Shep Sullivan, his first Pro Tour podium, P3. Compatiello 4th all by himself for a majority of that race. Dusty Strayer kept digging, as did Trey Sanders. Both Strayer and Sanders plus 11 to go up to 5th and 6th respectively. But there's Jack Katowski.
This was after the line. Little love tap there. I don't know if that was all too much. I mean, Jack was probably starting to let off. I don't think Bo was too upset about it. And that's unfortunately, Rob, the second consecutive. Well, here's the other thing.
Pushback.
Yeah, you could see it. Look at that one more time, boys. You guys did a great job catching that. And I didn't catch it, Rob. You did. What here? I think Jack had already just kind of mentally clocked out for a moment and was celebrating. And, yeah, the impact, I don't think that was malintent by any means for Bo, but it was enough. Yeah, because, I mean, that's earlier than the braking zone for the corner. I think Bo was just finishing the race off. And, I mean, you never know when behind the helmet there was no animation hand signals, but look at the bumper.
Yeah, but also look in relation to Shep Sullivan as well, right? Shep's not like Shep closed in like he slowed up even too aggressively. Because otherwise you would have saw Shep close up as well, and he didn't. The gap was between Sullivan and And
that's true.
Wyatt was pretty much the same. So you hate to see that happen, but man, that's going to be potentially a pushback for Bo Wyatt. How big would that be? When you're talking.
Well, that just changes everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, we were about to show you what the points are, and to be honest, a lot of it we might just end up throwing out the window because of what the penalties may be. And Superkarts USA, the race control team, along with the tech team, have been very active already today. We have a couple of updates. You heard from Billy Musgrave's post-shifter main event interview. Frustrated, obviously, that the bumper was not fully detached, just kind of cocked up in a certain way. Either way, the fact he got the black flag and ignored it, while it was, in his words, a miscue by race control, they have disqualified the number 1 plate, the champion, from the main event. That's a huge blow. Josh Conker as well for track width, DQ'd.
Oh my goodness.
Vincenzo Saraceno will now get the 10-point fast lap bonus and move up to 5th on the final standings. There's a lot shaken up there. There were a lot of penalties in some of the earlier pre-finals I'm still catching us up on to try and make sure we're accurate for this race here. K100 Senior to try and give you guys the accurate championship picture. So they have been busy. There have been plenty of calls over the years, Rob, around the paddock and back at home and in between events for the officials to get involved to try and keep the racing clean. And the sport has made a number of massive improvements from a safety perspective. Obviously, the pushback bumpers came in, but at some point over the last 10 years, the entire industry, top to bottom, has figured out a way to make them not go in as easily. So the officials are forced to use all the race control cameras, and they have been using them a lot. And I'm sure they'll have more angles than that because we heard in production as well, while we didn't have time to show you guys, there was a moment similar at the end of the K Junior main event after the flag also. It's unfortunate, but it's hot, it's humid. There was rain back and forth. I'm sure it's frazzling everybody. Let's see what it does to the KA seniors. 17 minutes plus 1 lap. Round 4 from Cincinnati, and KA senior is green.
Paulie Massimino from the pole. Ruben Moya from the outside of the front row. Can Moya hold around the outside at turn number 2? He does. Fantastic job. He'll lose only 1 spot. I believe that Eli Warren able to slide into second. Indeed, he does. So the leader is Massimino. Big outside run there for Caden McQueen as he goes to the outside to try to tuck in behind, I believe, Overbeck. As they get things underway here right now. Good start again for Paulie Massimino. Able to get the open run. Yeah, there's those 2 drivers with Overbeck there. Massimino through turn number 10, back into turn 11. These top 4 drivers essentially nose to tail with Chase Hand right in there as well. Warren wants a bit of the lead. He'll go to the bottom of the racetrack, into the inside. Massimino get hung out to dry. He may go to 5th. He may go to 6th, trying to go around the outside of Caleb Gaffera. He'll have the inside at turn number 14. Oh! Gaffera tried to pinch in on the corner and a little wide as well for Massimino. Those 2 make contact.
That was a scary moment. Glad Caleb's okay. Unfortunately, his hopes for the win are less than okay now. New leader again. Ruben Moya to the front. Hand into second. Eli Warren into third as he tucks into line through turn number 2. Big train of go-karts all now behind Ruben Moya. In a must-perform situation every single round. He has answered the call every single time thus far. Round 2 winner. Great performance yesterday. Now leading the way here in round number 4. Here's a look at that moment between Gaffera and Massimino. 2 good friends off the racetrack. And, I don't even think Caleb turned in. I think Paulie got an accidental love tap from Caden McQueen.
That's exactly what happened. Gaffera was turning in where you would turn in. In fact, look how far out he is. He's just trying to turn in. Yeah, McQueen likely gets into the back. Let's have another look at it here.
Yeah, one final look right here. Again, Paulie's kind of setting up for the corner, trying to make sure that Caleb can't hang on the outside. So he's trying to not pinch his exit, and I think McQueen just misjudged it. He was probably already committed, anticipating Paulie was going to go narrow like Caden was going to. And that little love tap into the back of Paulie sends Caleb Gaffera up in the air and down the board. And, well, the board's going to change quite a bit now. New man into second. Hand back around Eli Warren. Overbeck on the move. Ramos defending from him now as they go to 4. And it's an 8-driver pack back to Colin Lloyd and his new Nash Motorsports colors. Their second weekend together here with the white T1D Racers suit. Easy to spot at the back of this lead pack here, the Miami, Florida native.
Saw back at turn number 4 where Ramos shut the door there. Wanted to lock down that move to P4 on Overbeck. Didn't lose that much with that cover on the inside of 4. Oftentimes you'll lose a bit there, but the way they're battling up front, right back at it. Warren's going to go to the inside. He's feeling good with that package right now. Eli Warren, the Hoats driver development number 907, up on the wheel in a big way. He'll go to P2. Nice move to the inside of Hand going into turn number 13. There is your lead group as you go back to Caden McQueen and Lloyd. Top 8 drivers across the line, almost nose to tail. McQueen getting challenged rather by Lloyd. Can't quite get the job done. Moya still up on top though. Warren looking to the inside. He wants a piece of the lead. Book it. He's through in turn number 4 rather. Eli Warren goes to the top.
And again, barely any time lost, any positions lost. Big contact. Oh, that's teammates. TKG, Bureau Larch together in turn number 2. Heavy damage to the left side pod of one of them as the leaders race up and over the hill towards the back section. Moya wants the lead back. He'll take it with help. Hand, Ramos, Overbeck. Paulie Massimino's at the fast time of the race last time by. He's trying to follow. He will not have enough space. It'll be Eli into 5th. Paulie staying 6th, and Lloyd has gotten past his former teammate in Caden McQueen for that 7th spot.
Little hip check there coming down the front straightaway as Diego Ramos into the side of Overbeck.
Well, that's not what you want to see here. I don't know if, honestly, this early in the race, Eli meant to do that or not. Or Ramos waving. Diego Ramos. Okay, so that was on Diego Ramos. So he was
pointing him back by.
Class act there from Diego Ramos. And obviously equally trying, that right there you see both because of respect between the drivers and also because the officials are forcing that respect. Diego knows that they have already excluded, I believe, at least 2 drivers when I was scrubbing the results yesterday, Rob. And you might know even as well as you and DC were looking at the results yesterday. I know of at least 2 I saw excluded from the entire day's action for driving down or swerving full on. Driving down is a minor penalty, swerving a heavy one. And so Diego Ramos cognizant of that, cognizant of the championship, and a sign of respect. I'll give him the tip of the hat for the respect part, too, to James Overbeck as he, again, puts a hand in the air saying, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't see him there. Classy move up front. Aggression, but clean. Moya, hand going backwards, and Eli Warren back to the front.
Did you see that sequence there as they came down into turn number 1? Moya, I think, was hoping that Hand would stay with them. Hand went to the inside. Moya shook his head a little bit. Instead of tucking him behind Hand, he just threw it to the inside of turn number 2. And yeah, that's a big shot there for sure. Rodriguez into the back of McQueen coming out of turn number 7. But, yeah, indeed, I think Moya wasn't quite happy with that. Said, okay, listen, if you want to go by me in 1, I'm going to bring the whole train by me in turn number 2, which is essentially what he did. He dove to the inside. Hand was on the outside. Everybody just streamed right on through. So Hand going all the way back. Where? He's back to the next group, Sandra. He's back to 6th. Make the move for the lead. He goes back to P6. Overbeck in front of Ramos after that swap back and forth from contact here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, big fade, big loss of time. Back up front again, another lead change. Eli Warren back to the front. We talked about it yesterday at length. The only safe spot is the lead, and now we're seeing that on display. Moya barely hanging on to that thing as he falls back to the 5th spot. Overbeck driving him to the edge, but not over it as they went through turn number 2. It paved the path for Ramos to get by into 4th as well.
And Warren a little bit different there. Took the lead exactly the same as Hand did, but covered off the bottom of turn number 12. You're not just going to throw it inside me. I got to finish the pass over here. I went shallow on the entry. You ran the wider line. You're going to get a better run out than me out to 2. I can't let you throw it in the inside. In fact, I got to put you back into the Lions. And when he did that, Moya to the outside of the racing line, in came Massimino. One driver dropped a wheel further back there. Sorry, coming out of turn number 11.
No, all good. Problems for the 990 machine. One of the Holtz driver development entries slowing in the middle. That's Alex Feldstein. He was 23rd. Must have gotten into something there in turn at number 6. I'm sure we have a lot of action from this race to take some instant replays and looks back. It almost feels like anytime I want to even suggest that there's another moment that might unfold at that same point. But I'm sure as the production team continues to try and keep up with all of the chaos going on around the facility and on the circuit right now, that there's a lot to dive back through. We'll wait on the queue for any of them because there's so much that's transpired, and equally there is a couple of drivers further back definitely worth noting while we've gotten a momentary break in the lead changes. Overbeck now up to 2nd, of course, getting by Paulie. Jose Alejandro Halfin is up to 14th. He's up 15 spots, a little further back. Big moves for him. Handful of others up a couple. Isaac Malcutt's up 7 further back in the field in 16th. And back up front here, James Overbeck at home to the lead. Out of 14, it'll seal it. Warren will get into 2nd, and The field now keeping the BJR teammates away from each other.
Yeah, they are.
They probably saw a little bit of the action in that junior race. The seniors not wanting to let that happen to them.
Yeah, Paulie Massimino getting hung out to dry a bit on the outside of 14 just after Overbeck took over the lead. Great stuff here in KA Senior. 3 more races till to go. Xander X30 Junior, Mini Swift, and then Pro X30 to cap off the day. You showed that radar with that kind of front, that little wall of green coming through. We'll see whether or not we're able to sneak through before that hits. I don't know. It's they've been giving us that 4 o'clock potential time. Right now, still clean and green and dry here in KA Senior as James Overbeck finds himself up front with Eli Ward pushing from P2. All right, so you saw that there. Not Overbeck looks over the shoulder, gives a little point up. Let's see whether or not Eli Warren wants to work with him there. A bit of a shot there from the back from Diego Ramos. Warren may start feeling the pressure from Ramos and then Massimino, but Overbeck was hoping for a little bit of help here. He'll open up the inside. No one diving to the bottom yet, and there's that radar we talked about.
Oh, man, it's getting bigger and it's getting closer, Rob, and it's scaring me. We're in the same boat as every race team here, trying to hope that somehow we get lucky, get the day in as quick as possible, and can tear our tent down. But if not, it sounds like it's going to rinse on through and give it a big and ugly bath here at the rate that we're going. And I mean, the blue on the front side of that front is really what's worrying in terms of getting these races in all in the dry.
Again, teams hate tearing down in the rain for sure, even in the wet, because you don't want to put away wet tarps, you name it. But at least it's like it's one line coming across as opposed to the fact it looks like it's going to rain all evening. It seems like if and when we do get hit, it's going to be one kind of wall coming across.
That does seem to be the case here. And again, it might happen before we're done with the on-track action because we've still got, of course, a number of main events still to go. X30 Junior still has to roll. Mini Swift after them. Pro X30 still to roll as well. So we're at about 3:30 p.m. Eastern at the moment. To the line. 7 minutes plus a lap to go. James Overbeck leading at home. A big-time race win. His first came at this very venue, but not after he lost it at this race and at a number of events here in some of the most gut-punching ways possible. But then last year, of course, a phenomenal run the year before, a championship. Here's a look at some of the action from earlier. How about this pass here with Massimino and Moya? This was a very, very close call.
Backing it in.
Yeah, backing it into the corner for sure. As we get a momentary break in the action here, James Overbeck in the lead. Ramos now up and into second and looking for it. First lead change potentially in a minute. James going to let him have it. And Paulie Massimino going to follow him through. He washes out a little. Here comes the rest of the pack lined up. Eli Warren trying to make sure he doesn't get caught on the outside. That was a heads-up play right there to not try to follow Chase Hand because he realized he wasn't going to get past James Overbeck before they got to that right-hander. So he just kind of followed James instead because otherwise Ruben Moya would have been able to pounce as Paulie goes to the lead.
And come on, people are just cycling through here, right? You're leading as much as you can before the drivers make the move. Overbeck knew that he was coming. Still 6 minutes plus that lap still to go. Overbeck back now into the third spot. He went down into fifth, went to fourth, now back into the third position. Again, it's now Massimino up front. Hand, who got roughed up and moved to the back after the move potentially to try to get by Moya. It didn't only last at a corner. He ended up going back to sixth. Now he's back into second again. The cycling through as you continue to work your way forward. Look at Moya, who ledged a couple laps ago. He's back down into sixth position. Now sixth, as he's right in front of McQueen.
And I believe we've got a moment here as we go at it for third. Warren to the inside of James Overbeck with Diego Ramos sliding down the leaderboard to sixth. Again, like Danny Formal brought it up yesterday, and like we've been talking a bit with a number of the classes in terms of the championship standings, this is, somewhat early, just at the halfway mark here to be talking about the championship. But when you have someone like Paulie Massimino that swept all 4 pole awards, that's 10 points apiece at every single round, has been consistently at the front of the field, and has obviously performed across all 4 rounds, even if the drops are factored in. When you look at the top 3 as they run right now, that gap of how comfortable it would be for Paulie to roll into Newcastle would be tremendous. 98 points over the best 3 of 4 rounds so far. And of course, that's with Ramos back in 6th. You look at the pre-drop standings, it's over 165 points up on Chase Hand. So they obviously, all the other drivers that we mentioned here, Hand, McQueen, who is fading away from the top 6. He's almost out of the drafting range. Got a little bit of life kind of blasted back with Ramos passing on Ruben Moya. But still, he is out of the conversation if Paulie continues to rip off another top 3 run.
Big move to the inside there for Overbeck to get by Eli Warren, but the last 2 times by the line, when Massimino's looked over his shoulder, hand is just pointed forward. Let's go, me and you, trying to line things up. And he knows that behind him is one of Massimino's teammates at BJR in Overbeck, so I don't know whether or not that's something Massimino's going to play, just allow Overbeck to come back up. But right now, it looks to me like Chase Hand not intent on making a move here at this point here with 3.5 minutes and a lap still to go. He wants to see if he can come away and potentially battle for the race win in the final circuit.
And while the leaders are now seemingly slimming down to a 4-car pack, another shout out to Jose Alejandro Halfin, who continues to march well back down the order in 12th. Pass for second attempted there by Overbeck into the side of Chase Hand. Contact tire to tire sends Chase Hand up and into the dirt. Here comes Eli Warren into second with a huge opportunity at hand to try and chase down the race leader. Ramos into 4th now. Moya into 5th as Hand is trying to just reset himself, and he is getting punches left, right, and center with another spot lost.
Got to get spooled back up after that contact coming out of 14. Dropped them all the way back. Was right there in second, being very patient. Let's have a look at that on the exit.
Overbeck on the curb. He didn't necessarily have a nose ahead on the exit, but again, he had committed so heavily that he wasn't banking on Chase fighting the pass.
I think they're going to look at that because essentially Hand giving him lots of room, went to the outside of the racetrack, and that is left front to right rear contact. That's going to be a tough call for the race directors for sure.
And it's not the first time we've seen a tough call in this corner, right? Single speed or gearbox, we've seen both in both of those switchback hairpins. The normal rule of thumb in a corner with a longer brake zone and a longer overall turn to exit kind of distance, you know, if you're halfway up on the inside of the guy where he can see you, say turn 2, for example, and you try to stay there by the end, he's normally nosing ahead and you have to bail. But in that case, unfortunately for James, the argument that can be made is the fact his nose never fully got ahead of Chase. So we'll see what they do. That's not our job. Our job here is to continue to show you what's transpiring. Paulie Massimino ripping out unbelievable consistency over the last 3 laps, all within a 0.5 of a second there. 58.410, a 4.14, and a 4.74. The bad news is Eli Warren has been even better. And with help from James Overbeck, they are making some serious inroads. A 58.3 for him the last lap, and I believe the same for the lap prior. It is bringing that gap down from what was 0.6 last time by. It could come down even lower. Look at this. Warren had a pass, then down to a 3, and it looks like it's closer now.
Probably looking at 3 laps to go. You think 2 across the line, right? A minute and 15, minute and 10, maybe when they come across the line. Very likely we'll see 3 more laps in this one for KA Senior. Paulie Massimino leading the way, but the challengers are up on the wheel. Eli Warren, James Overbeck, and Diego Ramos. Quite a ways back down to Chase Hand after the issue that sent him back. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, though, ready to line up is Ramos, most definitely closing. You see how he is there within maybe 2 kart legs coming down into 7. Ramos up on it. He'll get that draft. In fact, out of 7, he is right on the rear bumper. He knows it. He sees what's happened. These 3 drivers ready to reel up and try to reel in Paulie Massimino.
And as quick as they've been lapping, albeit Ramos, I think, got up to Overbeck too quick, who owns the fast lap time. That's 10 points as well on the championship fight up for grabs. Overbeck here in the pressure from Ramos, going to 2nd. James Overbeck now completes the BJR 1-2 with 20 seconds to go. Massimino's lead increases. Warren, all that effort, all the progress. Ramos shaking his hand across the line, realizing how little time is left, that the odds of getting past Warren, getting help, or pushing him forward and getting past Overbeck in some capacity are not in his favor anymore. Over to 4, I think, yes. He's going to send it anyway for 3rd and probably concede the race here from this point on, at least the win. He's going to get to James. I just don't know how easy James will make it to get past him.
And that's exactly what it is right now. Essentially, Overbeck still thinking about his own win, but his teammates up the road is not going to make it easy at all for Ramos. Can't get it done here in 11 rather. The run over the crest down the hill. Ramos is close, but remember, white flag's going to fly this next time by. Chase Hand keeps pushing from P5 after the contact at the exit of turn number 14.
Here's the question. Paulie Massimino and Diego Ramos have worked really well together. They have a lot of trust. We haven't really seen Ramos and Overbeck work together, and I wonder, does James Overbeck trust in Ramos enough to give him the chance to go and attack Paulie? because I think Overbeck's speed is there. And with a little shove on one of these straights, if not two of them, he could put some heat on him in the last sector. With a half lap to go, James Overbeck has closed this gap down. They are all tracking exceptionally quick. Chase Hand to a 58 flat. The previous lap best was a 2. So Massimino, he's not out of the woods yet, Rob. Out of turn 7, only 2 car lengths. That could get just close enough for James Overbeck to make a run at him.
Yeah, although it's his teammate, Massimino would have benefited if Diego Ramos was there to potentially put some pressure on Overbeck. However, he is not. Big run down the straightaway. Not a cover to the bottom for Massimino. He knows if Overbeck's going to get the job done, it'll be done right. He's not quite there. Not to the inside. He'll go to the inside over here in turn number 14. It could be a drag race to the line. Diego Ramos is going to be there as well. Out of the final corner, 15 and 16. He'll pitch to the inside. Let's see what we get. Little bit of a move, not quite enough. Cross the line. Massimino wins again. 83 thousandths of a second. Paulie Massimino wins KA Senior.
How many times have we said that line across the broadcast over this season and last season, Rob? We obviously didn't see him in the 100cc classes for a little while. There was the 2024 season where they had the drivers forced to pick one or the other. And then now in 2025, he joined in at the second round of the championship, missed out on round 1, almost ended up in the top 3 in the points, missing an entire round when it's best 5 out of 6 and having a 0 for 1 of the 5. And this year, this is a statement season for Paulie Massimino. BJR with their 100cc package. That is KA Junior and KA Senior. 1-2 in hand.
Wow.
Ramos third, Chase Hand fourth, Eli Warren fifth. McQueen able to get to 6th at the very end. And how about Edgar Rodriguez with a good drive up 4. Moya slides down the board to 8th. Halfin gets all the way up to 10th, slides back to 11th as Spencer Smith gets the better of him late in the going.
Still plus 18 for Halfin, plus 7 for Finnegan Bailiff in 9th spot as well. So indeed, a couple of drivers getting themselves up into the top 10. Good job for Finn Bailiff. But again, up front, Massimino right there. Overbeck wasn't kind of lined up to be able to get that enough of a run to pull out and drag race him to the line, but it ended up being 63 thousandths for Massimino over Overbeck. And as you said, another BJR1-2. This is looking like it's lined up to be one of the best weekends in the history of that organization, man. This is great stuff. They've won, 3 for 3 so far in junior. They've won back-to-back in KA. That's 5 wins on the season, on the days, or the weekend rather, so far.
Well, and for bragging rights, you've got him picked for Pro X30 to make it 4. We'll see what happens there later on. Paulie Massimino bags another KA Senior win. The points lead as well. So they'll begin to roll the scale lines on through here. Paulie Massimino victorious. Pole award as well on the day. When you take the drop in and you go best 3 out of 4, it'd be an 80-point margin over Diego Ramos and Caden McQueen. Pre-drop standings, it would be even larger, of course, with a string of consistency Paulie has put together to start the year. 175 points in the raw score over the first 4 rounds to Chase Hand, McQueen, and Ramos and company. It's a dominant season, and it could be a very comfortable Indiana weekend in KA Senior for Paulie Massimino. We'll be back with more as we return on the other side of this break. X30 Junior coming up next.
When it comes to innovation on the track, Odenthal Racing Products leads the pack. From the highly popular EasyGP camera mounts to our tough case to GoPro case, racers everywhere trust ORP for strength, reliability, and precision. We're proud to be the #1 engine mount manufacturer in the USA. And with our new Easy Bumper Retainer System, you won't get caught out with a failed bumper bolt again. Odenthal Racing Products. Lead or get left behind.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. X30 Junior onto the racetrack, getting set to go green for 17 minutes plus 1 lap. Here's a look at how they'll line up. Ashton Woon and Ruben Gutierrez, the front row. Travis Pettit and Marco Samet, 1-2 earlier today in K8. 3-4 in X30. Maxwell Macha, Grayson Walcott, row 3. Moving back on through the rows 6 through 10 as the final few drivers roll their way into the lines. Gutierrez on the left, Woon on the right. Green flag in the air, lights are out. We're green for X30 Junior. Underway through 3 here, Rob. It looks good. Oh, it was almost good. Schlotthauer around, I believe, in the Ital Kart, and there's 1 or 2 more that got tripped up. I think, unfortunately, that was the only driver, though, that could not continue. Colt Schlotthauer started 13th, spun backwards in 3.
Yeah, back on track under his own power. He continues on. Up front, Ashton Woon gets a solid start there. Right behind him, the 729 of Travis Pettit. Pettit is right there as well. Let's see if these two drivers can get away. Look at the gap already. The battle right now going on 5th on back. It's going to allow these top 4 drivers to potentially stretch away here early. A big jump for Woon. Gutierrez, Pettit, they've got themselves some breathing room here early, as it is pretty cutthroat coming through 13 and 14 further back in the pack here on the opening lap. Good stuff, though. And again, what are we watching here? We're definitely going to be keeping an ear out to hear from Caleb Vieska down in the paddock and on pit lane to find out when this potential wet weather is arriving. Xander, it looks imminent right now that it is going to cross our path here in I don't know how many minutes time.
Yeah, it just keeps getting scarier and scarier. Again, the blue is the light stuff, and that's probably the worst part of it. If we knew we were going to get hit hard, then it would be an easy decision. But if it could be as simple, I mean, you look at how much the modulation is of the blue end of the wave. It's going up and down every time it checks it on the radar. That it's just so hard to predict for these mechanics. I don't envy anyone on the grid for Mini Swift or for Pro X30. You can see the wind certainly picking up with the tree line behind them. But as X30 Junior gets rolling here, presented by Rollison Performance Group, 4/10 the lead here for Ashton Woon to Travis Pettit with a good start from that second row. We're following along here with John McClellan and Troy Ferguson. They are 11th and 12th as the midfield scrum makes its way onto the front stretch. Up the road, any other notables? How about fast lap on lap 2? Went to Grayson Walcott in 5th on the RPG blue and pink Cosmic, the 744. On par for a great day here today as he rolls inside the top 5. Macha 4th, Gutierrez 3rd, Pettit in 2nd, 1 in the wall. Mateo Calderon. And the rough Sunday continues with a 799. We'll go down to pit lane, though, with our most recent winner and a huge points lead bolstered by this performance this weekend at the Spring Nats and K Senior. Paulie Massimino. Caleb?
Yeah, thank you. We were just queuing up for the interview here with Paulie, and he took time to go and apologize to Caleb. Said that he didn't mean to get into him at the start. Shows you the respect between these two. And again, Xander, the two of them, longtime friends. Paulie, I'll ask you about that, right? The start was, again, just very close between you and Caleb. Just kind of talk about that first and what you just told him.
Yeah, I mean, I went through the downhill in the lead, and I just didn't get over in time. So a few of them went by going into the bowl deal, and then going through the left, I was kind of trapped. And yeah, going through the last corner, I was on the inside of Caleb, and I just got absolutely slammed from behind. It put us both together. It put me in the air, put him way back. Luckily, I was able to recover, see if there's some damage. Definitely felt a little off, but no, yeah, I was just telling him sorry. Like, I hope you know, like, I wouldn't do something to you like that. So, yeah.
Again, well, the respect is there, and, you know, off or not, you guys were on fire. You guys have been on fire all day today, all weekend with juniors in your senior program. How does that feel to just get another one for the program here?
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, our junior program's really taken off lately, so those boys are doing a really, really good job, as Travis is leading right now. But no, I couldn't be more proud of them, and you know that honestly is better for me than any of this. So obviously, it still feels amazing to win, but just to see like the younger kids that you're trying to help mature and improve, it's slowly paying off.
Well, let's take a look up here. The clouds starting to get closer. You still have another race left today. How are you kind of feeling about some potential rain?
Yeah, we'll see. Been looking at the weather all day. It's hard to tell. It wasn't supposed to rain earlier, rained earlier. It was supposed to rain all day, didn't rain all day. So Who really knows? But we'll be prepared for whatever comes, and obviously the rain is very hit or miss for me, so haven't been here before in the rain, so hopefully it's a hit.
How so is it hit or miss?
I don't know. Like, sometimes I could be good, sometimes not so much. I don't know why. And I wish I could practice that at home too, but I can't even get on the track when it's raining, just because they run a bowl type of layout, so it's kind of pointless to even go out. So I really wish I could practice in the rain more, because I really would, just because I think that's my biggest flaw, in my opinion, right now. But yeah, I mean, this KA BJR BBS package was phenomenal. I was kind of hoping that white flag was going to come out any day. I was hoping one lap earlier, but then I had to defend a little bit. And then, yeah, I got it to the line. So I can't thank all those guys enough. BBS, amazing horsepower. Offset for the amazing apparel. Too bad I didn't have any new shoes like all these other kids get, but I guess I'll wait. Maybe it'll help me out a little bit. Who knows? But Odenthal, Wiggity Wayne, Apex Apparel, my dad, of course, for being on the wrenches this weekend. We got into a little argument yesterday, but I'm glad that we can come back and still do this together. And, this is what we love, and it's what we love to do together. So I cherish that time a lot. And, yeah, I just love this team. This team is just phenomenal. So we'll see what we have for X30, and hopefully it's dry. But if not, oh well.
Thank you for the time, and congrats on the win, Paulie.
Thank you.
Timed out one pretty good now as we come back with his teammate in the lead. Paulie Massimino always keeps it interesting for us when we hang out with him, and we've gotten to talk with him a lot because he's had a successful season.
I love the picture-in-picture at the same time, because darn it, that has been a barn burner race below. Paulie obviously talking about his program and working with the young drivers that they are at Brandon Jarzik Crack Racing, but this fight with Pettit and Woon and Gutierrez has been epic, so much so that it's brought Katowski, Goldseth, Murphy, Walcott, and Macha all back into it. It was a three-driver battle out front at one point. Now things are stacking up. Gutierrez is having to defend big time here from Katowski. Nico trying to go to the inside in turn number 2. Look at these guys stacking things up. Aggression, 10 minutes to go, plus that lap. It is starting to get exciting here in X30 Junior.
And assuming, again, we've got everything right with our unofficial tally, part of that reason is, again, they know that Travis Pettit has had such a banner start to the X30 Junior campaign. They cannot afford to give him that many points, but they need to sort it out amongst themselves first, because Ashton Woon, he's the closest challenger by a long shot right now with the pre-drop standings, a good chunk away from everybody else. But if he only is able to get ahead of Travis, that's only a 20-point difference from first to second. That's not really enough to make a dent and to put a hurt on the 729 to really bring the fight into Newcastle. And this group back here, I mean, they've kind of spread out a little bit now. Like you said, a lot of movement, barn burner action here. Grayson Walcott had the fast lap early on, and now the fast lap's gone all the way back to a young man that's tacking on to the back of this pack here. And we'll get to him in a moment when this pack, at some point or other, it backs up to him or explodes with that pass there for Murphy on Golseth, because the fast time went to Woon that time by as he closes in on Pettit. But before that, it was on Enzo Di Gennaro. He's up 11 spots to 13th from the back of the field, closing into the back of this pack. Pettit defending a bit from Woon, and then back here again. 5th onward for Tristan Murphy and the cavalry, it feels like, all fighting things out.
Yeah, 2-driver breakaway right now with Travis Pettit and Ashton Woon, two of the top, if not the 2 top junior drivers right now in the sport, pushing each other here out front. Pettit trying to make it 6 wins on the weekend. They've won 3 of the 4 junior categories already. Paulie getting both of the KA senior categories, so could they get 6 wins here? And indeed, Woon going to try to stop that streak as quickly as he possibly can. It's over 8 minutes plus a lap to go, and those 2 drivers start to pull away. Gutierrez has been able to clear the drivers behind him, as Grayson Walcott has done a tremendous job. Gutierrez putting the fastest lap down last time by for RPG, 56.926. Walcott in 4th, holding back Murphy, Katowski, and Katowski. Then a little gap there to Macha. But right now, those 2 drivers up front trying to see if they can't pull away. There's the 723 as well, Nathan Goldseth. John McClellan right behind him. Colton Schniegenberg into it as well. There's been so much great action to the field here. although 3 drivers stretching away. It's really 2, but I don't want to give up on Gutierrez yet, especially when the fact that Woon is eventually going to have to try his hand to try to get by Pettit.
Well, here's a look at the times, right? Ashton Woon, his personal best of 56.983. That was the best lap of the race back 2 laps ago. But then Ruben Gutierrez went a little bit faster the previous lap at a 9.26. This lap again, Gutierrez resets fast time, gets to a 56.858, tracking ever closer, inching his way towards the lead. 2/10 taken out of the gap, and one more good lap like that with an improvement over first and second. He'll get to within a half second. He'll have the draft to tow him the rest of the way. This young man, a driver that has cut his teeth in SKUSA, Mexico, and has jumped right in at the pointy end of the grid here this weekend especially, here making his presence known. We heard from him earlier when Caleb chatted with him. It would be a first career Pro Tour win if Ruben Gutierrez could bring it home against the 2 drivers that have headlined the category thus far in 2026 across almost every major championship. Ashton Woon, first strike towards Travis Pettit. Now, the question is when and how does Travis respond, because there's still a lot of life left in this main, Rob, and he's got to worry about Gutierrez now.
Yeah, that pass in 13 and 14. You start it in 13, you finish it in 14. If a driver's able to go the racing line like Gutierrez did in the back, he's going to gain so much room, and exactly what he did right there, able to work his way right to the rear bumper of Pettit. So exciting stuff here as the top 3 drivers lock together once again.
As the field walks its way into the infield section, Ashton Woon, Travis Pettit, Ruben Gutierrez. The gap to Grayson Walcott still decently large there at about 2.5 seconds away, 2 seconds roughly from the back bumper of his teammate in Gutierrez. Unfortunate for Walcott, as quick as he's been going, he's getting reeled in by the pack that has finally decided to work together again behind him. So he's not able to do this, go up and fight for the lead. Gutierrez, Pettit, back and forth for second through the switchback hairpins. Another lap goes in the books here, 12 to go.
Yeah, that's going to give Woon some breathing room as well, able to get out of that corner as an over-under for Pettit. Lost him a little bit of ground, a little bit of forward momentum coming out of turn 14 to 15. Here comes Gutierrez back down to the inside as well. He does not want to run P3 anymore. They've moved Pettit back into the 3rd spot. Woon trying to stretch away here. Just over 5 minutes in the lap still to go. Woon's got some breathing room. Needs to look over the shoulder here to see that he's got open racetrack. Further back in the pack, let's look at the battle here again. There's a 723 at Golsa. He is right there with a 744 of Walcott. 787 to Schneegenberg there as well. So that's the fight essentially for 6th, 7th, and 8th and 9th.
Great job of covering it all here. So much to keep tabs on. Surprised at again how much, just the back and forth and now kind of spreading back out. Ashton Woon's been able to stretch his legs. I mean, look at how controlled he is. Gutierrez sending it, using a little extra track there to try and close the margin up to the race leader. 4.5 minutes plus a lap to go. Still 2 more main events on tap. Still keeping the eye on the radar, the eye on the skies. And now as they roll into turn number 2, the gap back to Nico Katowski. With the pass made on Grayson Walcott, he hardly lost any time to the race leaders. Nico Katowski 2.2 seconds back from Woon at an unbelievable pace at the moment. Tristan Murphy the same. Walcott slipping all the way back behind Schneegenberg with all of that. And finally able to kind of hit the reset button in this 4-pack with Colton, Nathan Golseth, and Enzo Di Gennaro up the road. Di Gennaro now, his march, haven't gotten by Golseth. 17 spots to the good, up to P7.
I'm going to say 5 or 6 laps potentially remaining here. As again, remember that there's that one more lap when we get close to the end of the timeline. Here's a 792 of Katowski. He and Tristan Murphy running in that 4th and 5th position. Last time by Katowski at 56.918, essentially matching the time of Woon, but he was quicker than Travis Pettit consistently there. Here comes again that look at the radar.
Look at this one slide here, Rob. Wait for it, wait for it. It was right about there. You can see the blue is almost surrounding the pin of where we are on the map here. And as we take a look, even our cameras again, trying to keep everything going through turn number 5, all the way to the infield now. 3 minutes plus a lap to go. Even the marshals keeping an eye on the skies of what this could do to X30 Junior. What has to be the scenes right now, the chaos I'm sure unfolding in the Mini Swift main event grid. And look at the top 3 as they roll over the hill towards the back section at turn number 12. The leaders closing in together again. It is Di Gennaro leading that pack, but here Ashton Woon has company. Gutierrez has eaten that gap up. like it's been nothing. That was 3 full tenths last time by. It'll be at least under 2 this time by the loop.
Again, Gutierrez pointing up to Woon like we saw with Chase Hand in the senior race, just pointing forward. Let's go. I know for sure that Gutierrez wants to try to pull away from Pettit. Does that fight a little bit further back there? Oh, now this is the same battle. Sorry, I thought that might have been the Walcott fight, but no, that is first, second, and third. Nose to tail. Here we go now with the defense. Is this going to help out Katowski and Murphy? Are they close enough to potentially come back in? Because we still have likely 3, maybe 4 laps still to go. Woon on the defensive. Does not want to give up the lead. Climbing through turn number 10. Through 11 to the inside. Book it. Gutierrez has gotten to P1.
Ruben Gutierrez now under pressure from Ashton Woon. Big time sender on the curb. Pettit to the high side. Nowhere to go into the hairpin. Woon trying it, not enough there, and now he'll get bogged down. Here comes Pettit with a crossover. Here comes Katowski. Tristan Murphy. Minute and a half plus a lap to go, and we're back to 5 deep up front. Maxwell Macha got left on the sidelines.
Sander, that was half a lap. Not even a full lap of defense. And we saw it happen. In comes Katowski and Murphy. 5 drivers still in it. Back to the next group will be Macha, but he is about, I want to say 1.9 seconds back in this lead group. That's not going to be much, though. I would think Macha's probably going to catch this group as the way they are battling right now. Gutierrez defending down to the inside. Yeah, all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Woon still right there. Pettit runs in second. There's Macha in the 774. Good look over his shoulder, gauging how much room he has back, because he's got time to plan the attack. Got to keep pushing as they keep low-lining. Down to the bottom here again. Look at Macha coming in. Big run around the outside. Book it. Woon goes to the lead.
Unbelievable. Ashton Woon. That was superhero level stuff in turn number 12. Now to the line with essentially 2 laps to go. 6 of them all together almost as Macha tries to close in. The next group still a good straightaway back. It'll be between this pack right here for the race win, at least if nothing else really changes. Can they all stay close as they roll through 3?
Look for Macha to join the party here as well. As I said before, and right there behind Tristan Murphy right now is Maxwell Macha. That was a big run around the outside for Woon. Gutierrez and Pettit fighting each other to the inside of turn 12. Woon just swoop around the outside to take the lead into 13. Now he's back to the point. Gutierrez to second. Who is going to come onto the podium here with Katowski, Murphy, and Macha all in the fight? Top 6 drivers separated. Macha way wide. He's going to run around the outside as everybody else down to the bottom.
Macha didn't have the guts to try to go all the way there. He's just going to pull alongside Murphy. Now he'll start to thread the needle a bit. Murphy's going to close the door. Goal sets pack still closing in. Yeah. White flag looming this time by. Ashton Woon trying to keep the championship fight all the way to Newcastle, trying to get another win on the year. Ruben Gutierrez looking for his first. Crossover's not there. He goes to the outside. Not enough as Woon drag races him, and now he goes off. Pettit into second.
Pettit up to second spot, and indeed, I believe that might be Murphy now working his way up into third. Gutierrez had to get over top of the curb to keep it happening. Could be a 2-driver battle at the end, but the rest of them will keep pushing. Further back, Murphy up into that 3rd position. Woon to the bottom of the racetrack again. Out of turn number 7. Woon versus Pettit. They'll work their way through 8, 9, 10, down to 11. He'll pinch to the bottom. It's going to be a big defensive run to the bottom, and here they come down the hill.
He botched it. He bogged it down way too much. Pettit fully clear into 12. Travis Pettit. Could he go 3 for 4? Could he sweep Sunday? Woon all the way out. The rubber got stuck there in 13. A huge lead. Travis Pettit with a big-time play.
Here he is across the line. Count it, 6 victories for Brandon Jarsakrek Racing. Travis Pettit wins by 1/10 of a second over Ashton Woon. Woon pinches too tight, coming through turn number 11, bogs it down, big outside run for Pettit, and he's able to finish the lap off to score yet another victory. What a weekend for Brandon Jarsakrek Racing. They sweep all 4 main events in junior competition.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable for this crew, for Travis Pettit to jump over to a new environment and seemingly not even lose a single step, a half step from all that momentum to start 2026. He's as good as he has been earlier in the year. Hurricane Trav has struck again, and the 729's points lead will only continue to grow off the back of this phenomenal performance. He got the fast lap of the race too, Rob.
Oh,
Another
wow.
10 points on top of that. Just massive, massive stuff for Travis Pettit. Heartbreaker for Ashton Woon. He played it almost to perfection, and he just barely, in an awkward way with the way the kart kind of unloaded out of 11, had it bogged down at just enough. He tried to fight it on the outside. He gave Travis just enough room, but not any inch further, and it was just enough for Travis to get fully ahead into 12, and then Ashton going wide to set up. That would have been fine had we not been driving here for 2 consecutive weeks. And all the rubber laid down here at the MCC Kartplex. Just kind of tripped up Woon in turn 13 and was over from there. Travis Pettit, double win on Sunday. Mini Swift action here coming up next, folks, presented by Mega Power Racing Engines. 2 main events remain on the day. Here before we close things out, what will the weather do? What will the drivers do? We'll find out next.
Gee, looks like we're missing an engine. What the hell am I supposed to tap?
What do you mean? It's my Greyhound. It's all I need.
Where's the rest of it?
It doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
You gotta make way.
Okay, you're good.
Sitting by here with Kyle, our race winner. Tell me how you did it. You were blazing fast out there, and I mean, you don't even have a go-kart, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you know, Norberg, Schmorberg, the Greyhound-powered Greyhound was great today. You know, it makes the difference. And the team's been working really hard back at the shop, and, you know, just shout out Greyhound.
Thank you, Kyle. How the f did you just win?
Doesn't matter. It's a Greyhound.
Karting isn't just speed. It's control, precision, freedom. At Atlanta Motorsports Park, Kart Freedom isn't just a team. It's where drivers are made.
Ready for action here for 2 more main events to roll from the MCC Kartplex. Jaden Francisco, Mason Brody, the front row here. Dutch Westbrook, Forrest Blair, Lucas Durango, and Slade Harrell on row number 3.
Yeah, Aiden Go, Brody Stoffel on row number 4. Hudson Howard alongside Samuel Chiavari on row number 5. There is 6 through 10. Jake Manalio starting on the inside of row 6 alongside Samuel Avila Martinez, Liam Astalis, and Caden Cladera on row number 7. Keep going. Lachlan Postal and Marcelo Flores, row 8. Max Santana, Grayson Knefic, row 9. Benjamin Tavi and Maddox Carlucci, row 10. The field wrapped up by Sevilla, Eltar Chait Sanchez, Axel Gomez, Mean Lewis, and Sam Hornish.
24 deep, ready for action here in Mega Power Engines Mini Swift as they begin to form. All 4 race sessions, Rob, have had a Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart front row. This one will see it the same. Jaden Francisco, Mason Brody bringing the field to a crawl as they roll through the dogleg. Picture perfect for the 2 of them yesterday. We'll see if they can get a clean getaway again, but you have a day like that Saturday main event, and certainly that will put everyone on notice for the next opportunity to not allow you to have that kind of chance again. Here we go, Mini Swift looking for action, looking for the green in the round 4 final. It's underway.
The dive to the inside of 1, 3, 4, maybe 5 drivers off the racetrack into turn number 1 as they enter it into the corner. Everybody else streaming through turns number 2 and 3. Francisco out to, I believe, the early lead. Big run around the outside for Dutch Westbrook as well. It is the 102 of Francisco going to P1. Watch this lead group of about 7 karts battling it out, coming into turn number 6 and turn number 7. You can see a number of the drivers bottom of the screen from the early incident in 1 able to continue. So that's fantastic to see as a number of them went shooting off the racetrack on the entry to turn number 1. Out front, though, Francisco leading the way. A lot of action here early. Hand in the air further back there. That was Forrest Blair, not happy with whatever happened coming out of turn number 11. Xander otherwise underway with about a 4-driver battle.
Here's a look at the start again. Let's see if we can figure out what happened as they come to a close at the end of the opening lap there, live on the bottom right corner. Yeah, 3 or 4 of them. Caden Cladera, Grayson Knific, the 112 starts pretty far back.
Looked to me like I think one of the GFC carts potentially rode up with the guy in front.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
Lachlan Postel potentially.
At that point, you're going to start to rotate, right? Let's watch it again.
Yeah, Lachlan Postel up and onto the right side of, someone had moved over. It was I think one of the Velocity Sodis had started to, Cladera. Cladera thought he had fully gotten past him. It might have been the 112 Paralyn that was up in the air. It certainly looked like it was the GFC up in the air. And now we've got another issue with a Beryl Arch slowing in turn number 4.
Yeah, I think that was Marcelo Flores, Grayson Knifick, Caden Cladera, and Mattis Carlucci. Those are the drivers, the 4 at the tail of the grid now.
So now, with those gone, here's your updated leaderboard kind of look into turn number 12. On the move is Aiden Go. A little love tap accidentally to Dutch Westbrook. No, he's just going to go straight on into third off the momentum broken. Aiden Go, 2 turns, 2 passes made. Now up to third, but here we go. They're on the cusp of losing touch with the leaders as they roll down to turn number 1. Side by side behind. Slade Harrell makes a pass. Go needs to connect the dots as, Brody Stoffel nearly into the side of Slade Harrell there in turn number 2. In the run to turn number 4 and 5, Jaden Francisco with a chance to try and break away with Mason Brody. Aiden Go, Dutch Westbrook, and Force Player trying to prevent that. Let's go down to hear from another winner. This time, Travis Pettit, 3 out of 4 here in Cincinnati. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, Travis, another day, another win. Again, just tell me about it, Travis.
Oh, man, the race was nuts, man. I mean, I got out to the lead early. I knew I had lower pressure, so I tried to maintain my pressures until the end. And, I kind of paid off there towards the end, and, I got it done.
I see how pumped up your dad was, Brandon was. You guys win so much, but at every win, you celebrate it like it's your first. Why is that?
Well, honestly, because I work really hard for it, and it's really hard to do this in these conditions especially. And, it really comes down at the end to who has the best physical with the kart. And, I work at that every day, and, that really helps me.
Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, my family watching back at home, Odenthal Racing Products, my fans out there who watch me and support me. I would also like to thank BGR, the whole crew. I'd also like to thank Smiles, the data guy, Mr. Brandon. I'd also like to thank Eddie. Really helped me and support me a lot. And I'd also like to thank Coach Ben from the U Movement and my mechanic Xylus wrenching for me in the X30.
Well, you're getting better at Poly about remembering your sponsors, Travis. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Guys.
Practice on the racetrack, practice on the mic, man. You want to be a professional race car driver, you got to thank the right people. You got to know how to get that done when you're in your victory interview. Lots of practice happening for Travis Pettit right now.
Certainly getting the reps in there, and all smiles for sure for Travis Pettit as we approach a little closer to halfway here in this race. The sun certainly not as prevalent as before, but the lead pack, a different complexion altogether than yesterday. Mason Brody and Jaden Francisco were able to break away seamlessly on day number 1 of action here at the Spring Nationals. That has not been the case. Aiden Go and Dutch Westbrook have found another gear, and they have literally closed the gap on merit to the 2 leaders. They've already split them up. Go up to second, Francisco back to third. It is just the 4 of them. There's a good gap back to the next pack with Brody Stoffel and crew, but we've got 4 drivers now in the conversation, and only 2 of them are teammates.
Yeah, absolutely crucial for both Aiden Go and Dutch Westbrook to get into the mix here right now. Otherwise, it was going to be a carbon copy of what we saw yesterday with the 2 RPM drivers pulling away. Now, Mason Brody up front, and still the battle continuing here as Francisco now back into the 4 spot as Dutch Westbrook works his way there. Brody Stoffel rolled up here, as is Slade Harrell. There's Brody Stoffel. It looks to be like Blair able to get by Slade Harrell, though here comes a potential move to the inside as well. I think Lucas Tarango getting himself up in the fight too. So a lot of action outside the top 4 still, Xander. Not just Brody, Go, Westbrook, and Francisco, but the drivers 5 back to 10 putting on a show as well.
Yeah, this is 2 kind of really good battles beginning to unfold here at the halfway mark as we take a look further back in the pack. The leaders there headed on through. This is Tarango there in the orange helmet. Hudson Howard in the white and blue machine. Harrell, big slider there to stick it on the inside of the 110 of Forrest Blair. And beyond them, you'll find Jake Manolio on the 191, Max Santana on the Bennett. Fast lap went to Brody Stoffel, of course, the last time by, which is good news for this pack that they are tracking towards the leaders, and the leaders are changing position, which, of course, that's going to continue to help that gap to go down. Only a second and a half away from the lead with Stoffel last time by. He'll be much closer now because Aiden Go has taken over for the first time in the main event. Here for the Mega Power Engines Mini Swift class, Go leads the way. Mason Brody on his heels and looking to take it right back into turn number 1.
Good stuff here now as these drivers going back and forth. Issue for Francisco, though. He's down a little bit. He's got to get himself back up because he's got Brody Stoffel, who just turned the fast lap of the race. You saw that graphic on screen. Brody Stoffel, the fastest driver. Brody up on the wheel right now to try to close in to make it a potential 5-driver battle up front. Stoffel goes to 5th. Tarango into the 6th spot. Howard 7th. Harrell 8th. Blair 9th. But there's the 3 drivers currently leading the way. I love seeing these drivers battle themselves up front. Again, much different than we saw yesterday. I think every driver who wasn't in that lead pack yesterday, understanding what they've got to do to disrupt that RPM 1-2, and they're doing a good job up front. Even though Mason Brody's gone back to the lead, Aiden Go doing a tremendous job alongside Dutch Westbrook to make sure they're staying in this conversation and trying to get a race win.
9.5 minutes plus a lap to go here as the field rockets on by the finish line. For Mason Brody, there's a sea of red on the way, but his teammates are not right behind him, and that's why he's got to have his wits about. Go to the lead. Westbrook challenging for second. Side by side here in Mini Swift as they roll into turn number 4. Aiden Go covering now. Westbrook here is the enemy of my enemy, my friend. I don't think so. They're duking it out for the lead. And now RPM Nitros 3, 4, 5, 6 behind. They're duking it out themselves. Brody Stoffel, he's had all this forward momentum. He's up 4. Oh no, Westbrook! What in the world just happened? Dutch Westbrook
dropped the wheel coming out of turn number 7 and looped it around.
Oh man.
Had such a good run, was able to get around Mason Brody as well. Completed the pass over in turn number 4. Good through 5, 6, and then coming out of turn number 7, Xander just dropped the wheel there, and it 360'd on him. We've seen a number of drivers do that. We'll hopefully get a shot of the replay here, but that shakes things up, and very lucky. A number of drivers came right on through on him. Could have been ugly.
So right ahead of this, look at this. Westbrook's looking behind. He was checking the gap behind, and he just didn't realize the kart wasn't pointed straight, and innocent bystander, Hudson Howard, Slade Harrell. Such an unfortunate turn of events. Oh, my goodness.
That's a teaching opportunity for sure. Not something you ever want to see. And, you hear a lot of coaches tell their drivers not to look back. Keep looking forward. We know that's not really so much the case. You see a lot of these cadet drivers constantly looking over their shoulders, finding out where the drivers are, maybe leaning to either way to try to defend a little bit. Yeah, but coming out of that corner, I think the Westbrook, obviously, as you said, just look back and let's see how much gap I have to potentially go to work here, knowing they're going to be battling behind me. And Xander, you nailed it. He literally got up on the curb and just drove straight off. He didn't have the kart pointed in the right direction, thinking he was straightened on the racetrack. It literally just went 4 wheels off into the grass.
Heartbreaker for Dutch Westbrook here, and now up front you saw an aggressive move for Mason Brody to try and reclaim the lead. Aiden Go now is in a 4v1, but again, that's to say if these kids work together, they're all fighting for their own championship, their own race win. And as they go through turn number 2, a big wide moment with Brody again trying to show a nose, but not fully able to get the commitment to the inside that Go would give the spot to him, if he would at all, and that's stocking him up again. And here comes new life for Hudson Howard. At least he's going to have a still good shot at this one. A heartbreaker indeed for Slade Harrell. Now he's way back, about 7 seconds down the road. Westbrook has continued, 9.5 seconds away. But there's 7 minutes left, and it doesn't seem like Aiden Go has any intention of letting anyone hold the lead beside himself, but he was too late there. Brody with a nose to the lead.
Well, he's going to eventually get passed by at least one of these Nitros. Trying to go way around the outside. Again, Aiden Go trying to hold on. Look at these Nitro drivers streaming in on him. He's going to be able to stop the bleeding there, and in comes his team. Oh, he get a little help from fellow Pearland driver, Forrest Blair. Blair to the rescue as he shuts things down there as they now run 4th and 5th. Good job there for Forrest Blair on the inside, but it's Brody, Francisco, and Stoffel. How did Francisco find his way back up to P2? Lots of racing still to go with over 6 minutes of the lap still to go. Mason Brody back to P1.
6 minutes plus a lap. Still so much time left. And while we talked about some of the moments in that micro Swift race, I hope some of the mini Swift drivers not only watched it but kept a tab on the results. As I checked in, Shep Sullivan at the moment has just been awarded the win. There was an incident responsibility penalty handed to Jack Katowski. Bo Wyatt had the pushback bumper on that cooldown lap get deployed. Shep Sullivan has gone from third to the win by keeping his nose clean and not giving up for the entirety of that main. Right now, of course, what we see, the radar closing in, the skies darkening, and the pack closing together. And hopefully, all these young drivers, as hungry as they are to go for the race win and to try and get valuable championship points, have equally been aware that there have already been a number of races yesterday and today where the winner on track has not ended up being the winner, to keep their wits about, to not let all this chaos rattle them and get them out of their zone.
I just had a quick look at Aaron Likens up at the flag stand. The rain jacket is on, and I wonder whether or not he was going to be pulling the hood over. I got to think we're going to be close here pretty soon to potentially start seeing some precipitation.
I wouldn't be surprised about that at all, Rob. This is going to be a wild one to the end here as we watch them now walking through the infield. It continues to get darker and darker. Pro X30, the last race of the day, on grid, getting set to go as the leaders here in Mini Swift have still 4.5 minutes plus a lap to go. Will we get the inclement weather to hit right before their race ends? Will it hit heavy enough where the X30s have to consider the wet weather tires? You certainly are seeing the field spread open. It is cooling down outside, and yet, right now, Mason Brody still seemingly, by all other accounts, watching here from the sidelines, has things under control.
It was RPM 1-2 yesterday. Now they're running 1-2-3. Let's go to Caleb from Report from the Paddock.
Yeah, thank you guys. This cloud right over us at the moment. It is indeed raining at the moment in turn number 1.
Okay.
Xander, there it is. The rain, you can actually see it a little bit here. The rain has started here. 4 minutes to go. We're looking at probably 3-4 laps. Yeah, rain tires going on for the drivers here in Pro X30. We hoped, we prayed, it didn't happen, it has arrived. Let's hope that the drivers here in Mini Swift able to contain it and hold on. They can see it coming onto their visors. This is going to be a tough finish.
It is raining sideways. The sun is shining too. This is just a crazy ending to the Spring Nationals, and the Mini Swift class still on slicks, still going at it. Brody versus Francisco. The track surface is really what we're going to have to keep our eyes on. How quickly does the color change as Francisco goes to the lead? Lap times have not necessarily faded at all. They're all still right around the good pace here. The more that we keep them on the circuit, keep the temp in it, keep it dried off by them running across it, we'll fight this lighter portion of the wave that's headed our way. Sun shining down at turn 1, raining down at turn number 2. Insane conditions. This looks like a clear day here in the turn 1 and 2 area, and the back section of the racetrack. Rain jackets on. You can see the rain in the angle. Insane.
Brody wins back to the lead here right now on the 109. Here's the 129 of Stoffel up into second. RPM run 1-2-3. Here comes Aiden Go back into the fight as well. Hudson Howard's breathed new life, as you had said. Go to the inside. The 102 of Francisco getting pushed back. That's going to have championship implications. You can see the rain now coming across the screen here on the broadcast. It's going to start getting slippery. Stay off those painted areas. The rain coming down also lightly. 2.5 minutes remaining plus a lap. These drivers trying to bring it in. First little adjustment coming down there for Brody as he had to change the entry into the corner a little bit.
And look how many of them are so close together. Not only is there no room for error to run into one another, but again, if the leader makes a mistake, they might all go off the edge. This pack goes all the way to Max Santana in 8th. 2 minutes plus a lap to go. Changing conditions. The lap time starting to slow now. They've dropped off 3 full seconds, or 2.5 seconds, I should say. It is still Brody up front to Aiden Go. Hudson Howard in 3rd. Half the track is wet, half is dry, and they are defending and battling and passing still through turns 4 and 5. Look how much they're crawling there in the back section.
Great stuff for these young drivers in Mini Swift, handling difficult conditions, changing conditions, worsening conditions as the rain is falling here at MCC. Big move to the outside, Aiden Go trying to go to the lead. Look at this stuff here for Mason Brody. Go right with them. Sooner or later, we're going to start losing a bit of grip. There's a big wide run there. There's your first shot at it. Little tough on the turn in for Aiden Go. Loses a bit. Big run further back as well. I got Stoffel thinking about the inside. Big run around the outside. The number 129, a Stoffel leading the way. Driver off. Couple of them spinning down into turn number 12.
Santana off, Tarango off, and one more, I believe, as well out of that main group. Meanwhile, Mason Brody headed to the line. This will be on the limit of 2 to go. I think it will be indeed 2 to go because they won't get another one in. 2 laps left. No, white flag waving now. 1 lap to go. Mason Brody versus Brody Stoffel versus Aiden Go and Jaden Francisco and Hudson Howard as the frenzy continues on the grid. That's a live look at the MPG boys going to work on Joe Turney's machine for the Pro X30 main. I mean, Rob, this looks like literally we are showing you 2 different races from the different angles on track. Turn 2, dry. Turn 4, absolutely soaked right now. And now we're starting to see, I think, a little more of the front side of the track getting wet again.
And we knew drivers went off down in turn number 11. Look at this, big outside run there for the 109. Some issues there. And they working their way back into turn number 7. The rain definitely following in a big way. Brody Stoffel's gone to the lead. Which young driver can handle these low grip conditions? Almost off the racetrack. 2 of them off as they get contact in turn number 11. Hudson Howard went out. A couple of the RPM drivers. The rain is falling. Slate Harrell has worked his way up to second. Harrell trying to hold on to the racetrack. Almost to the outside. Harrell going in the 129. The 133 of Westbrook getting his way back in here now. The driver going way to the outside. Check these drivers out. The 102 of Francisco. I think that's Mason Brody, or is that Stoffel up front?
That's Stoffel.
Yes.
Brody Stoffel. Westbrook pumping his fist. Brody Stoffel. What a performance. He steals it at the end.
Wow.
Unbelievable on the final lap. Oh, into the wall. Slade Harrell, big moment down at turn 1. He was fighting neck and neck with Dutch Westbrook for 3rd. And the downpour has arrived.
Yeah, they roll into across the line, and all of a sudden the rain, as we know, coming down full on. So look at the wheel that Stoffel's got into it to get the thing to turn right now. He gets the victory. Slate Harrell ended up in 4th and went straight off. Chevary goes up to 5th. Blair 6th spot. But your top 3, Stoffel, Francisco, and Dutch Westbrook. What a wild finish as both Mason Brody and Aiden Go off in turn number 11 on the final circuit.
All right, this is insanity here getting ready to unfold for us. The Mini Swift race, a heartbreaker at the end. Oh, Mason Brody led so well, but Brody Stoffel, you're a big-time winner. Caleb Viesca, what is going on down trackside here? Because we can only imagine it in the booth, but you are living it, my man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it right now. It is, it's cold. It's obviously wet. I mean, that goes without being said. But look, everybody's going on wet weather tires, and then all the teams just looking for confirmation as to what the time's looking like. Rain's still even picking up. But again, this is a huge kudos to all these mechanics, all the hardworking people behind here, the drivers getting ready to put on a show for everybody watching on from home, for everybody that's here. But yeah, look, no surprise. Everybody's going on wet tires here. Back to you guys.
Xander, if we're looking just on the schedule, 4:35 start time, so that's still 6 minutes away, but they're going to have to clear off first and foremost, clear off the karts that remain on the racetrack because there was a lot of carnage. A lot of drivers went off on that final lap. Here's another of the drivers continuing to come around here. So there's going to be cleanup time before they get things underway. There's another one of the drivers involved, the 166 there. One of the drivers who went off on the final lap as well. Many of them down the tail of the order, not
Here's
able to
look,
get back.
Final lap. So Brody Stoffel to the lead, Francisco to second. Brody trying the outside a bit too deep. Hits the slick patch. And Aiden Go trying the inside where the grip and the rubber was. Backs into the side of Brody and a hard impact with the wall.
I think Brody would have made the corner. He was actually transitioning through and had the car pretty straight. It was the problem with Go who dove through there and went straight off and just essentially cleared him right out. Again, there's that storm we looked at, Xander. That whole front coming through with the blue and the green. The green's essentially pretty much arrived at this point.
Yeah, there is no avoiding it now, folks. We are in a full-on downpour, and this is chaos. We're going to have to take a break here. We'll give you updates when we can get them right now, but the MCC Kartplex SKUSA Spring Nationals has become waterlogged in a matter of 5 minutes with one main still to go.
cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar? Pericazo! Try Perico, made with natural ingredients, organic caffeine, and supports your metabolism. Try the new official energy drink of Kart Chaser.
Are you stuck with your kart racing? Not sure the ideal kart setup? Or going to a track for the first time? Well, Kart Class has the answers for you. Our online portal has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help your kart racing. From kart setup advice to track guides that are targeted specifically to your circuit, or the driver coaching aspect with mindset, racecraft and driving techniques. If you want to take your karting to the next level, visit us at kartclass.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Kart Chaser's coverage of the SKUSA Pro Tour. And as you guys can see, we are in very, very wet conditions. And I want to show you guys at home, and for those of you as well here in the paddock, this is what the racetrack is currently looking like. There's a lot of water kind of starting to stand on the racetrack. Turn 2 specifically, this puddle right here is just at about the entrance of this corner. And again, a lot of standing water at one of the biggest passing zone, passing opportunities. And the conditions out here are miserable. For these drivers, it's not only who can come out here and win this race, weather the storm, but also who can come out here and make some passes and try and win this race. And I am getting information that the race start has been delayed until 4:50.
There you have it, folks. Yeah, we were chatting with Superkarts USA Race Control. They're keeping, obviously, a big tab on the weather as well, looking at trying to let the heaviest part of the storm pass through. That also would, in the last couple minutes before going green, give them time to go through where the major standing water sections are. And so, indeed, we'll be doing a 15-minute delay here. That's obviously a breath of fresh air and a little bit of relief for all of the Pro X30 drivers and teams that were in a scramble to try and just get a quick setup together. Now they will have the time to do a full rain setup and get after it for the main. I mean, maybe not a ton, but they'll have a good amount more time. So 15 minutes, put it on the clock here, Rob. Smart decision by Superkarts USA. I mean, that was a big hit we just had, and there still seems to be a good chunk of it, but it already is starting to stabilize a bit, it seems.
Yeah, I think, when we looked at that kind of wall that was coming across, it was a thinner wall. It wasn't like it was a huge, massive storm coming through. It was just that one front that was going to pass through. Once we get by that, very likely we won't see any more rain for I don't know how much time, but we never really let it roll that much, but enough to the point where the rain will subside. So there you have it there. We're going through the worst of it right now. Once we get to the other side of it, the rain will be done. We'll have a wet weather race potentially. Well, ideally, even for the teams, at least it won't be raining when they're tearing things down. But the bottom line is that at this point here, Xander, we're going to be on a hold. I think it's a great call.
Let's go back down to you, Caleb.
Yeah, check. Again, they're just getting further confirmation here as well. Brandon Jar's correct talking to these guys. Chase, I know the conditions probably aren't nice, to say the least. How are you feeling about your driver rolling off first here?
I mean, I've seen him drive in the wet a few times, and usually turns out to be pretty good. You know, just put the standard kit on it and let him go find out the line and see what he can do with it. But it kind of came out of nowhere with the weather, but it's the same for everybody, and we're going to give it our best shot.
What did you guys change, if anything?
Just, you know, standard widths, things like that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the driver, so we'll see.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chase. And against SKUSA. Whoa! Good thing I missed that. Good thing I'm still standing, guys. 450 is when we're getting ready to go green, and I'm going to watch my step next time. Thank you, guys.
Caleb, you are certainly working a full day here in the last 20 minutes. I have to give a tip of the cap to you for being out in the conditions. Tip of the cap as well to our phenomenal camera team, our floating production team, and Superkarts USA, all of their officials. I'm sure the MCC Kartplex officials as well are doing everything they can to keep this property, keep the show going here. The last thing anyone wanted was to have a slightly longer Sunday. We were hoping we'd get lucky. We just got one race left to go. A little bit of luck ran out.
Yeah, 18 minutes is about all we needed, probably 19 minutes, right, to be able to get this thing done, and just not quite enough. We saw it coming through. It's not like it overly surprised us. It was on the radar that it was going to come through, but again, based looking on the radar, if we do just wait it out a little bit, we're going to see it lighten up a great deal and eventually probably stop on the other side of that front.
Well, the question becomes again here, trying to think back as well of the last time we had a Pro X30 main event in the rain. We had our first Pro Shifter race in intermediate conditions with a wet and then very quickly drying racetrack. That certainly will not be the case for the boys in Pro X30. They're going to be in the full wet formation, and you can see the last bit of the scramble continuing. Paulie Massimino in a hurry to seemingly get back over to the tent to get a little bit more of gear that he needs. Handful of drivers, on the other hand, were prepped or got the luxury of being pitted a little bit closer. It would be nice in a situation like this for sure to be with the TKG Beer Hall Art boys, just stone's throw across the way from the grid fence. But here we are, 12 minutes on the countdown to green. Our count unofficial, of course. We're basing it off that 4:50 p.m. time. And so you can see a close-up of all the action, all the activity going on here right now down on the grid. Gear changes, track width changes, as Chase Jones alluded to, and equally you'll see front-end geometry changes like right here going on the Beer Hall Art machine of Diego Ramos, I believe, where they'll try to dial a bit more front grip in because, again, the track won't have the grip. The go-kart's going to need to have it or to make up for it. But great angles here down on the grid. Kudos to everyone again, all involved in bringing all the coverage and action here. It's far from fun in conditions like this. The heat, the humidity yesterday, and now just getting absolutely soaked. You saw it with Chase Jones. I mean, that shirt had not a single dry square millimeter on it.
Are you a rain racer? Do you like it in the wet? I love racing in the wet.
I do enjoy it, but for a different reason, I think, than most. It's not that I enjoy getting out there and getting soaked. I think it's fun, but it's when they talk about the equalizer part, you heard it from Paulie Massimino's interview. Some of the tracks, even your home track, is tough to test at to get in the rain. My entire driving career, I only ever got to do a couple of times behind the wheel a year. So it was a little more level playing field for me. That's why I liked it. Typically ran a little bit better in the wet versus being well out experienced and outclassed in the dry. But here, I mean, we've seen some big races. Paulie alluded to it. He's had some really good runs in the wet conditions. I wouldn't count him out at all. We joke about the Brits that have come across and invaded over the last number of seasons in the SKUSA Pro Tour having an edge, but Paulie's been exceptionally well. Diego Ramos, most notably, when we go back to some of the most recent rain races that slick tires were on, happened at the Summer Nats last year, he was unbelievable. And as we go down to pit lane here, back to Caleb, I wouldn't count out the Brazilian either when we think about who could be the strongest right here.
Performance of Diego Ramos last year at the Summer Nationals, and here they had to go summon Gavin Bailiff, who was inside here in the lobby area. They went to go get him. Diego requested to have Gavin come out here and just talk about the racetrack, how to get around this place in the wet, because again, this is the first time ever that MCC has raced in the rain in national competition, really. So Gavin, again, talking with Diego about how to get around this place in the rain.
Very cool moment here to kind of see this up close and personal of Diego Ramos leaning on his Pro Shifter teammate and Gavin Bailiff for some insights and different corners around the racetrack, what things will do. I know one one tidbit that I got a couple of years ago. I thought it was one of the coolest bits from Jason Birdsell, who, of course, has been a renowned driver coach among many in the paddock and his racing pedigree for himself, factory driver in the 2000s, talking about how at Newcastle Motorsports Park, to find the ideal spot in the rain of where to go and finding where the grip would be, he took a golf cart out on track at the end of the day with his driver and slammed the brakes at different parts in the corner to find where it would screech and lock up and hold some grip. And he said, yeah, I figured it out. It's not exactly all the way up against the outer seam like everybody would think at that track. It's a little different spot. I won't give away where he told me it was, but that local knowledge of the traditional, mentality when it comes to rain racing is simply avoid where the groove is, avoid the rubber. Everything that you did before in the dry, do essentially the opposite on track. Go to the outside in the turns. If it's starting to dry out a little bit and the water's puddling on the inside of the straights, go to the inside on the straightaways. Use the curbs and corners you don't hit the curbs on. Corners that you did hit the curbs on, maybe you don't now.
Yep.
But it's not a one-size-fits-all circuit to circuit. So to see someone who put on the performance that he did at the Summer Nationals like Diego Ramos, still a student of the game and specifically requesting for some extra tips here, is cool to see.
Yeah, David Cole, I asked him, hey, when was the last pro race? He had to look back, and again, as you guys I think already mentioned, Summer Nats last year on Sunday, Diego Ramos scored the win, Frankie Mossman was second, Jesus Vasquez third, Moya and Lawrence finishing your top five. So throw those names out. Obviously, Mossman not racing this weekend. He is here coaching, but Vasquez, Moya, Lawrence, Ramos, again, add in Turney. We'll see how things play out. Again, it's going to be a very interesting run.
But the correction on that is that was in the pre-finals.
All right.
We had dry main events at both of the Summer National mains. The first main last year was dry, and the second one dry as well.
So
we did have
clarification
some
for
very wet pre-finals, and I knew that thinking back. I'm trying to think back on the last wet main event we would have had. I know the last wet main pro shifter race previous to this one, I believe, would have been New Orleans in 2022.
David's saying you're wrong, so you guys can battle it out about that. He said, nope, Xander's wrong on that one. So he's saying the final. I don't know. We'll have to look at the race report on that one. Or go back.
We even got better than that.
Let's go dive back some video. Let's go.
We got the video archives as well. But no, we got some updates here for you folks live from us. That's a look from our bus as well of the rain now starting to pick back up. So more intel as we thought that it was starting to lighten, and now the sun is shining. The rain has certainly gotten a bit heavier once again. So as we're digging back a bit in the archives, you'll have to go back a little bit further for the Pro Tour main events in the wet. I know there's been a handful. With the last Pro X30 main event in the wet was Alexander Vanchev's rookie win at Speed Sports Racing Park at the Winter Series this year. We had a wild run to the Winter Series in the RMC Winter Trophy. And second in that one was or on the podium in that one. I can't remember exactly second or third, but I'll check on that. Was Oliver Hodgson right up there with the young buck. Let's go down to Caleb here for some more intel as we continue to try to hopefully get closer to going green.
Yeah, just a quick weather report. It's still raining. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Caleb.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, that helps us a ton. We're going to continue to keep tabs here with race control. 450 as of now still looks to be a go. We do believe the heavier parts are past us. It still is relatively heavy, but at the same point, the lighting is looking better and brighter. We are seeing the sun start to peek through. The rain's still coming down for sure. There you can see it, the red, the orange, and even a bit of the yellow has for the most part gone past us now at this point. So with that in mind, we're just about past the wave of the heavy rain. And so with 5 minutes loosely left on the clock, that looks like we are tracking pretty good for that estimated start time of 4:50. Tip of the cap to the Superkarts USA Race Control for getting this one what looks to be about on the money in terms of giving the drivers and teams just enough time to get everything fixed and hopefully have a really entertaining but safe wet race here at MCC Kartplex. As we take a look at the final few adjustments, that's on Sergei Karamsaily's Kart Republic, the 399 machine. Getting ready to go green. Just shy of 5 minutes to go on the countdown to green here from MCC. A wild one for Pro X30 to cap off the Spring Nationals here in the wet. Getting set to go in a few moments.
Wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix. James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakracing.com.
Attention Superkarts USA drivers. Be sure to order your complete photo package from On Track Promotions. All drivers receive a minimum of 40 photos from throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with instant access from our automated delivery system. Visit otp.ca right now to get instant access to your photos.
Macro Motorsports builds champions every day. Drivers who won on the world stage. The Tillotson T4 Series is pure spec racing. Same engine, same chassis. When you win, it's because you were the best that day. Your edge is not the kart. It's the setup, the strategy, and the race team. With our Arrive and Drive program, you simply bring your gear, we provide the equipment and the championship-winning support to every event. Stop wrenching, start racing. Your path to the T4 Nations Cup in Spain starts with us. For more information, contact us at macromotorsports.net.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
You have to fight to pull ahead, to find your edge, to do whatever it takes to make you 1/10 of a second faster, smarter, more committed than the other guy, because you've got the kind of passion that can overcome the impossible. And we've got the most powerful performance race fuel available to help you do it. Sunoco Race Fuels. Take the lead.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get set to get started. So we've got some intel for you here as the engines begin to fire. We have, to the best of our ability, confirmed back to the last Pro Tour main event in the rain, and it would have been the 2019 Winter Nationals at Calsby, the inaugural Winter Nationals. The last Pro Shifter race in the rain would have been NOLA Motorsports Park for the SKUSA Pro Tour in 2022. And because David Cole wanted to argue with it, Rob, even though I was right and he was wrong, he owes me a bag of specifically powdered mini donuts. That argument will continue on. However, he's lucky.
I feel that's a valid request.
That's valid request. So powdered bag of mini donuts at the Summer Nationals, DC. That's what you owe me for being wrong there. The lucky part for me is Emery Lida wasn't here because he would have had that off the dome on both of us. And Emery, we wish you, we want to let you know you're missed here, and we enjoyed having you as a part of the crew. Our production team continues to rock and roll off of the tips and all of the men and women that have helped make this possible, including, of course, yourself, Rob, Caleb Vieska, Hunter Bolton, Kyle Cuthbertson, our entire crew down on pit lane getting soaked. The camera ops doing everything they can. This wet final is going to be wild. Turney and Ramos, Massimino, Moya, Hodgson, Nash, Gus Lawrence, Caden McQueen, Donovan Bonilla, and Jake Drew, the first 5 rows. We go to the next one here, Rob.
Indeed, Turner Brown and Keegan Kaminsky, row 6. Eric Doan, Davin Roberts, row 7. Finnegan Bailiff alongside Jesus Vasquez Jr., row 8. Jose Helford and Macy Williams, row 9. Fionn Chi and Arthur Barbe on row number 10.
We'll continue to keep them going here to the final few with drivers that have some work to do, like James Overbeck back in 21st, Hector Iturriaga, Franco Escoto, Remy Andriados, and Sergio Karam-Siley making the swap mid-weekend, mind you, from the originally entered as an RPG Classic, but I believe over now with the Kiddix USA Kart Republic camp.
Interesting.
Ready to go, 25 deep for the main event, the final race of the 2026 SKUSA Spring Nationals. It hasn't happened in more than 7 years, but the SKUSA Pro Tour Pro X30 division is headed for a full wet main event. They'll give them one more lap around to get a feel for it, and then we'll get set to let them loose.
I like that. Full lap around the racetrack, find out where there's any standing water, get a feel for this track a little bit. I don't think that's a bad call at all. You can see some of the standing water there for sure. That's what they're going to have to find out early, because that standing water will grab those karts pretty quickly. And also, the karts rolling around there is going to dissipate some of that water as well. So
smart here. Again, there is so much standing water in a number of the turns to give these drivers the opportunity to feel the track out and visually see it one more time. You've obviously got a wide range of driver options, those opting for the clear visor, some for the tinted visor. Caleb Vieska, what do you have for us as they begin to finish up the final prep here for this round 4 final?
Yeah, thank you, Xander. And again, just on that same topic of the standing water, after walking the track here in the moments that we had, turn 2 is one of the corners with a lot of standing water in as well. Turn number 1, there's a lot of water just kind of collected right on the apex of that corner, so it'll be something to look out for.
As the drivers came through, a couple of big splashes on the inside of turn number 1.
We did. And again, it's the first time this facility has really had to go through this kind of downpour and an instant race right after. And a number of facilities have had to cut slits on the inside inside curbs. And that's one thing that a couple of the corners where I believe it's pooling probably don't have or not enough. And it's just because that was a massive, massive downpour. And there's already been a couple overnight, but this is the first time we've got it during the day. So for the first time in this facility's history, a major Pro 125 main event is going to be run in wet conditions. It hasn't happened on the Pro Tour since 2019. Round 4 of the 2026 SKUSA Pro Tour from Cincinnati is green.
Big move to the inside for Paulie Massimino to try to find grip on the inside of that track. He'll go up and over the curbing there to the inside. 3 wide to the outside as well. Everybody searching for grip.
Joe Turney into the grass and way off for Oliver Hodgson into the wall. McQueen and Gus Lawrence colliding.
Couple of drivers off here early. Again, the whole time, the first laps, you've got to be kind of figuring out where the grip is. Looks like Ramos, I think, drivers up top of another. We got guys climbing on top of each other with the visibility out of the corner. Everybody else clean. Those 2 drivers, at least one of them out. The 311.
Eric Doan, Keegan Kaminsky.
Tough one for Doan. It's been a really rough weekend for Eric. Otherwise, everybody trying to find here through the first time. Big run, outside run there for Blake Nash coming through turn number 11. Looks to be like Ramos has been the driver who's gotten to the lead early on here. Inside, outside. Xander, people looking for different lines to try to find grip.
Ruben Moya trying to go to second, not there. He's going to try again. Massimino too high, wide, and handsome in the last turn. He'll give up a spot because of it. And the chaotic opening lap, Finn Bailiff even off. Diego Ramos with the lead. Ruben Moya into second. Massimino to third. Turney still fourth and surviving on this opening circuit as the alternate line choice.
Let's pick up the guys that falling to the tail of the field. Gus Lawrence, 17th. Overbeck, 18th. Hodgson and McQueen have not come back around. McQueen in 20th, Hodgson falling all the way down. He has not come back around. Keegan Kaminsky, Eric Doan, and Arthur Barbe. 4 drivers not completing yet the final lap.
Joe Turney's getting swarmed by the cavalry here. Chico Brown kicking up some mud right in front of his teammate Jake Drew and his other teammate Jesus Vasquez Jr. Oh no, Brown sideways into the side of Donovan Bonilla. Bonilla, an innocent bystander. Brown out of control, trying to hang on to it. It ends up saving him, but it just, I think, stalled the engine on Bonilla. And now we get a look here at the leaders.
Donovan Bonilla was running that clean outside line like so many drivers normally do. Out to the outside, trying to hold on to it. Boom, around came Turner Brown, hammered him, stalled the engine, as Xander had said, trying to get that refired. A lot of chaos to get things underway, but Ramos is the leader. Moya second. Massimino runs in third, Xander.
Blake Nash is off. Nash went off there at the entrance of turn number 13. He'll drop to the rear as well.
Massimino having a look to the inside of Moya as they come through turn number 1. Sliders through. Moya going to try to go back down the inside. They're both of them figuring out where the grip is. Joe Turney trying to close as well. Turney using that big outside run through turn number 3. Moya still has the spot, but Ramos is using this guys to pull away a bit. 2.1 seconds, the gap for Ramos at the line.
Ruben Moya willing to fight most of the time to the very last breath, the very last lap now as Turney sends it on him for third. Not able to get her done. He's going to try and drag race him into the S's behind Massimino, and Joe will win that argument. I didn't think he had the nose out in front, but Joe Turney starting to roll here in the wet conditions towards Massimino while Ramos continues to lead the way. Vasquez Jr. up to the top 5 now, ahead of Jake Drew.
It's like watching a sprint car race, right? Number of drivers running the inside line, others up on the cushion running around the outside. Right now, big outside run there for Paulie Massimino. Turney does get the job done to get by Moya, so move Massimino up into second. Turney runs in the third spot. Still Moya in 4th. 5th now, I believe, is Brown. Right behind him, Vasquez. So those two GFC drivers, 5th and 6th, move Vasquez to 5th. Drew goes up into 6th. Actually, Brown falling down the order after that contact with Donovan Bonilla.
Yeah, they were all in a battle pack, and while we kind of focused up here and definitely need to keep it up here as Turney is looking, and call it good for second with a move there in turn number 4. That move to the inside and that corner seems to be doable as Franco Escoto's around in turn number 2. But turn number 4 going to the inside, and even now in turn 5 there you can see it, Paulie Massimino. I guarantee you won't see him to the outside, in turn number 7 I should say, in the infield again. Watching the gap that Turney, how much he gained versus how much Paulie could gain back on the exit. The advantage went to the inside lane in those 2 hairpins. Easier to pass into 4 because you kind of bottleneck the exit with that little kink at 5, and then turn number 7, that infield corner, just the water across, the rubber across the track that you have to cross was the difference in grip there for Paulie. Otherwise, he would have ramped right up to Turney's bumper.
You know, where the de facto concept and approach is to run the outside line, you see a number of drivers, depending on the racetrack, able to run right inside, maybe up on the curb, trying to hook the wheel. That's what we're seeing out of Turney. He's not really running that outside line. He does over here in turn number 2, turn 1, right up on the curb. Watch the outside line here, getting the car turned and kind of coming across the racing line. Turney doing a great job right now, but it's still Ramos out nicely. 3 second the advantage for Ramos as he sets the pace out front for PSL on the Beryl Art.
Now, while Joe Turney was not on the grid here in the States in 2019 when the Pro Tour went to Cal Speed for the very first time, the only time, as Finn Bailiff is out in turn number 4, we have seen him in the wet conditions at the Miami Grands, the All-Star race, if you will, on the calendar. And he, in that one, in the X30 Pro Shootout, was a second clear of the field in lap times on the alternate course, was offered double the money to go to the rear, or I think half of double, an extra $2,500 to go to the rear, opted out of it, took the $5,000, and happily took his check and rolled on to the next day. But JT has already put his display on our coverage and stateside, his prowess in the wet once before. Now, fellow countryman Gus Lawrence on the move, back up to the 8th spot, starting to track towards the likes of those GFCs there. Jake Drew and Jesus Vasquez actually mark him up to 7th. He's gone by Macy Williams now. James Overbeck from the back of the field has also clawed into the top 10. And Ramos might have had a miscue there in turn number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Turney is there. I thought we had time to show the back of the field. Here is the fight for the lead and the win.
Yeah, 3 seconds just went to 0. Essentially right there was a 3-second lead. Let's go down to Caleb Viesca with our update.
Yeah, Diego Ramos going into turn number 2 just went in a little too wide there. Put those right 2 tires into the mud, and Joe Turney closed that gap right on down.
And now Ramos knows he's there, so he's going to be a little bit careful. Turney, a variety of different lines here. Paulie Massimino is still also faster than Ramos at the moment. Diego hanging on, and now Joe has got a really close bird's eye view of what the 304 was doing, if anywhere was it more advantageous than what Joe has been doing. You can see it there on full display in the hairpins. Ramos kind of in that second to third groove all the way around turn 12, where Turney was kind of diamonding the corner, shooting into it, and then going wider. And then here through 1, the difference is in lines again. Let's see if Joe's going to wait. Oh, big mistake out of Turney. Joe Turney, same mistake as Ramos made into turn number 2, and back goes the former Pro Tour champ.
Xander, you see how they get in there and really get that crank on the wheel and try to see if they can't hike the inside rear tire. Definitely worked on at least a majority of the opportunities here for Turney, but just couldn't quite get it to rotate and lift that inner rear. And again, that has dropped him back. It's a big thing for Ramos and maybe an opportunity for Massimino as well. Here's the replay.
As well, the battle's on the bottom of the screen for 4th. Here's Turney trying to go in as deep as Diego, and just a tiny bit too far along, and probably along the paint. Sean Bailiff and his MCC crew along with Greg Heyman, they have striped this place beautifully, but that paint is like black ice here in the wet conditions, and I would have to imagine that's probably what caught Joe out there on the run to 2 as Chico Brown is around in the infield. And a day that started with a great start, evading all the chaos on lap number 1, Turner Brown has fallen down the order once again from the mid-teens now. He was 16th last time by. He'll probably be all the way at the bottom of the pylon when it updates here now as we approach halfway.
Yeah, Ramos able to stretch 0.3 of a second on Paulie Massimino in that last lap, a 109.9 to a 110.2. A 111.8 last time for Turney, of course, with that issue over in turn number 2. He's not done. Big move down the bottom of the racetrack. Not quite enough to take the spot away from Paulie Massimino, but again, it's still Turney leaning into those inside runs, not using the outside of the racetrack, all the way down to the inside. Massimino getting a better run as you're on the power earlier when you run the outside line. Let's see whether or not they could, again, get back into eating into that gap for Diego Ramos.
And here's where you see, again, 2 different strategies, right? Paulie Massimino hasn't made a single error, right? The drivers in front and behind him have. He's taken a bit more of a conservative approach, more of the traditionalist line in the rain, something he knows he can replicate lap after lap without making a mistake that could throw the race away. Joe Turney and Diego Ramos both being a bit more aggressive, having a little better of a single fast lap, but ultimately having a miscue each, one apiece, have sorted themselves out around Massimino. And further back, the fighting continues as well as we keep our eyes on second. Paulie with the first little wiggle there in turn 1. Turney's going to try to take advantage here in 2. He'll slide him and get the job done.
Yeah, there's that slider that you see talking about the World of Outlaws, making that big run up the inside, slide up the racetrack, take the spot away. 0.3 of a second more as well for Diego Ramos there, as he, again, gaps it up to 2.1 seconds. Now, it was on Massimino. Now will be on Turney next time by. And, again, we're looking at that time coming down. 7 minutes to go. We're turning 1:10, so look at maybe 5 laps left, 5 plus a lap potentially.
Blake Nash, his day, another time, unfortunately, off the racetrack as Jake Drew goes to work on Ruben Moya's Pantano machine. 2 very different strategies trying to get through the S's there. Rinsing out even. Gus Lawrence closing in on all 3 of them in this grouping here. Moya, Drew, Jesus Vasquez Jr., 4th, 5th, 6th, and now Lawrence in 7th closing the gap.
How about James Overbeck up 12 right now as well, doing a great job here. Started 21st, Overbeck now into the 9th position.
We'll get a look at if Turney's making an impact on the delta to Ramos. That time by, JT a 110 flat, so he's back in his rhythm again. Ramos only a 110.3, trying to manage the race here as Drew closes very close there that time through turn 2 to Ruben Moya. Crossover move through 3 as Moya slides across the track. Drew's going to have the advantage. He'll try to cover deep into 4, and he's sticking. He's going way wide around the outside on the exit. Yes, Jake Drew mark that spot. Another one gained.
Vasquez, the next driver up to try to work on Drew. He's running the outside line, as is Gus Lawrence. Lawrence running in the 7th spot. Remember, off track on the opening circuit. Lawrence has fought his way now back up to 7th. It'll be interesting You look back at the championship battle and how they end up when we're done the summer nats, when it comes down to potentially how you were able to handle these very tough conditions.
Oh, Vasquez off, turn 11.
And just miscued on the entry to that corner for sure. And did a good job in keeping the car moving straight. That could have been disastrous for Jesus Vasquez Jr. Instead, able to continue on.
Ruben Moya still putting the pressure on Jake Drew after surrendering that spot. Gus Lawrence picks up another one. Like you said here, the championship going to be very interesting. But again, the driver in control of it, the driver driving this championship right now, Joe Turney, running second, doesn't need to win this one. He would love to. It's an extra $1,250 swing to end up on the top step of the box in Pro X30 versus P2. But he has, as they run, with the drops factored in right now, if they were to finish, still 90 points back to Paulie Massimino, and 5 markers back further to Gus Lawrence as the fast lap of the race now changes hands to another fellow Brit. Moya around in front of us here in 7 as Lawrence gets the pass done and Vasquez goes to work on him for 6th.
Last time by, Turney at 109.7. Ramos 109.8, so we gapped them another 10th, 2.2 seconds still. What a great job being done here by Diego Ramos. Very well done. Open racetrack, obviously no issues in terms of visibility of the drivers in front of you with that spray, but he is just knocking out these laps. One minor miscue that allowed Turney to get close, but right now Ramos still holding on to a 1.9 second advantage.
A number of drivers have retired already. Macy Williams, Franco Escoto. There you see Turney pushing the limits again. Turn 2, trying to dig for more. Oliver Hodgson involved in that turn 1 skirmish, turn 3 skirmish there, where things really got nasty on the opening couple of laps here in this Pro X30 main, off to the wayside, and that'll probably be a nail in the coffin for Oliver Hodgson's championship hopes. He already had, unfortunately, that DQ off the podium in Tucson when the water drained out of the radiator and he came in underweight. He needed to be mistake-free or error-free, and I don't think this error in the results was any bit of his doing, just wrong place, wrong time, getting pile-drived on the exit of turn 3 into the wall. But look at this. Turney last time by, another 2/10 eaten out of the gap. He needs a big mistake here or a big improvement on this lap to get close enough to challenge, but you can see visually he's closing. Here's a look at that start. Turney in the grass trying to rejoin, and right as he kind of goes across the track, hydroplaning, it's right into the side of Hodgson. And then, of course, McQueen looking the wrong way. Kudos to Caden McQueen, how fast that Velocity Sodi is in the wet right now. Going from facing the opposite way of the field on the opening circuit. Yeah. He's all the way back up into 8th. He's ahead of everybody.
Half a second faster than Ramos in the last lap.
He's ridiculously quick right now. Caden McQueen is a rocket ship. And what could have been for the Velocity Sodi driver to reignite his championship hopes here in Pro X30. Turn that 9 plate into a lower digit. He's still going to come out of it at the moment with the drops factored in off this score inside the circle of champs again with a 9th place in the standings and a close shot to get up into the top 5. But everyone's still chasing JT here with 2 minutes to go in the unofficial standings as they run, because that was so chaotic on the start. I don't know what as an official you'd make out of it, but certainly there was a lot of drivers who had their races hindered, or in the case of Oliver Hodgson, ended, that this race will certainly be under scrutiny.
2 or 3 laps remaining here for the 304 of Diego Ramos, the Barrel Art driver for PSL Karting. Got a great start, jumped out front, and was able to get away from the chaos behind him to hold on to that lead.
So Turney's closing. This is going to be a big lap for him. 7/10. 7/10. JT just lopped off the gap to the lead, down to a second now.
Yeah, just turned to 109.280, easily the fastest lap of the race. Down again to 1 second back. Again, we're looking at maybe 2 laps remaining here. This is good stuff. Yeah, they'll very likely get the white flag. Xander, you think next time by? Yeah, right. Be down to 20 seconds left. Very likely seeing the white.
Well, no, it'll be the timer to the end, and then the...
Well, they didn't do that in the last couple of races.
They called it early in the mini-swift race for safety reasons. So in the last race, that's why they went earlier. I think this one, with the wet conditions and all on the wet tires, they would let them go. But like you said, we'll see. If Joe, I mean, in Diego's case, best case scenario if that's the distance, because I don't think this lap is nearly as big of an improvement for Turney. He's certainly trying, doing everything different to try and gain on Ramos. Looking for any bit of pace here. 45 seconds to go. This will certainly be 2 to go, if not the white. 17 minutes plus a lap as we look to the front stretch. No white flag. One more lap after this. 2 laps for Diego Ramos to hang on and bring home a Pro X30 main event win. He got his first back at the Summer Nats last year.
Almost identical lap times as well. Remember, Turney got down to a 109.2, backed it up to a 109.7. Ramos did a 109.8, so only a 1/10 of a second on that lap for Ramos.
And again, the track, the rain is starting to dissipate to the point that you can make some adjustments. You see Turney make a carburetor adjustment there. He's learned everything he can. At this point, you've got to lay it all out and really get after it if you want this race win. How badly does Joe Turney want to try and get it there all the way to the edge of the track, sending it into the S's? Every bit that he's learned over the last bit of this race on display. This time it will be an improvement. You can see visually the gap has closed. But that right there, that run through 12, trying the alternate line, it's hard to say if it was better or worse. It didn't look visually great.
Trying to set himself up to at least get a chance to maybe lunge somewhere, do that slider we talked about, the move he made to get by Massimino.
No, two to go. So the timer's gone. We thought that would have been the white. We didn't see the flag. You race to the checkers. So this could be the last lap. Per the timing and scoring, it looked like that's what it was going to be the case of our unofficial timing. But from what I can tell looking at Race Select, the official timing and scoring, it's showing 2 more, I believe. So we'll have to wait and see. The waiting game for us, this is sudden death essentially here. Ramos and Turney, they of course have no idea. They're going off the flags. Forget the digital system here. Diego Ramos gave up 2/10 last lap. He makes a carburetor adjustment. Rain picking back up in a mano-a-mano. Dogfight in the rain. Joe Turney hunting down Diego Ramos. Ramos looking for his first win of the year. Turney for his third.
And Ramos got up on the paint there. That doesn't work. Here comes the inside move to the bottom. Thought about it, not quite enough. The battle is most definitely on. White flag will fly this time by, ideally. And look how close he is. He's going to try to throw it to the bottom. Big move to the inside this time. Both drivers using different lines in a turn number 14, Xander, through 15 and 16. Turney's going to get a shot at it here.
Here comes the white. This will be it. 1 to go, and they're right together. Turney got exactly what he wanted. He wanted Ramos worried about him. Wanted Ramos to protect. And now, Diego Ramos into turn number 2 on the final time by. Joe Turney trying to close the gap here. All over him through turn number 3.
So where's it going to be? Not close enough to make it, I think, to the inside here in turn number 4. He looks to the bottom, and he's got it done in the bottom of the corner. Turney goes to the lead in turn number 4.
Diego Ramos has led this entire race. What do you have to answer? He'll send it deep to the high side in turn number 7. Big over-under. Ramos back to the lead into the S's.
A different line through turn number 7. He comes out with it. He's through. Oh, he drops a wheel. He'll go to the inside, over under the pinch. It's going to be the big run out of the line. They're going to be side by side coming down the hill into turn number 12. Turney on the inside, Ramos on the outside.
You couldn't script this any better. A drag race up and over the crest. Turney back in the point. Ramos now. Can you get creative one more time? Turney's going to protect here. He's going to try and get that big launch out of the last turn, but I don't think it'll be enough. Joe Turney on the last lap is going to steal this one. Turney wins in Cincinnati.
Unbelievable last couple of laps for Joe Turney, and if it was not for that little bit of a miscue for Ramos dropping the wheels on the outside of turn number 10, he may have been able to hold him off, but they went back and forth. Turney taking the lead in turn number 4 and 5. Ramos taking it back on the exit of turn number 7. Just the miscue in turn number 10. They were side by side coming down through turn number 12 with different racing lines. Xander, we were treated to a beautiful wet weather display.
What a race. What an unbelievable Sunday of main event action, Rob. We kicked things off with Mateus Morgado closing down one of the biggest margins in recent memory to score the win on a drying track on wet tires. We end the day with a monsoon, a pop-up shower, dousing the surface, and a last lap battle and a last corner heave for Ramos to try and make back up. They traded the lead 2 full times and finally a third. And Joe Turney maximizes the day, maximizes the points haul, and comes away with his 3rd win on the season. incredible.
So many great drives in those unofficial results you see right there. Ramos, listen, for the entire race, led until the very last lap. Joe Turney with the win. Paulie Massimino, just a stalwart drive, hanging out there in third. Jake Drew as well. But you think about Gus Lawrence after the accident or the incident in turn number 3 on the very first lap. He ends up coming back to 5th. Caden McQueen the same, backwards out of turn number 3. Xander, he ends up driving back to 6th spot. Joe Turney has got to be thrilled with that performance here at MCC.
What a job, what a drive here for Joe Turney. Incredible stuff. He continued pushing all the way to the very end. Here's what they look like. First with the drop, we'll go to the pre-drop standings here to set the tone to show how good his season has been. Over 4 rounds before you factor in taking out the lowest score. 1,152 points totaled up by JT. He got the fast lap in that main en route to a max points haul with the win. Gus Lawrence second in the pre-drop standings. Paulie Massimino in third. And then when you factor in the drops and you try to take out one of the lowest, or your lowest score and go just off your best 3, it's still JT atop by 120 markers over Paulie Massimino and Gus Lawrence. Ramos in 4th, Moya, Jake Drew, Oliver Hodgson. A bummer ending here to what could have been a barn burner run for him today. Blake Nash, a rough go in the main. Caden McQueen in 9th, and Keegan Kaminsky doesn't get a single lap turned after a scary moment early with Eric Doan. Still inside the top 10, 1 point out of 9th, and only 5 points back from 8th in the drop adjusted unofficial standings here as we close out the day. Rob, what a great day of action here. We're going to hear from all these superstars, a number of them in our Perico post-race show, but first from you as we get ready to sign things off in a moment. We'll hear from your thoughts, from my thoughts. Let's go to Caleb here down on pit lane for the first of some of the drivers as well.
Yeah, thank you, Joe Turney. What a drive there, all the way to the end. Worked your tail off to chase down Diego Ramos, and in the end you take the win. Tell me about it.
I mean, like, I kind of got raced hard in turn 1, got moved a bit, and then after that it was just about coming back. Just super difficult with so much water, and whenever I got close to someone I just couldn't see anything, so it got really difficult. There's a couple laps at the end with Diego in front when I just couldn't get close enough and dug deep, got a few good laps in, changed a few things, and yeah, came down to the wire.
Tell me about that last lap. Diego, again, crossed you up, right, to retake the lead, and you guys were side by side all the way down that back straightaway.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, like, I went tight into this hairpin thinking that I would have got out all right, but I didn't. And yeah, I mean, he went kind of deep through the chicane and stopped in the middle of the track when he came back on, so we made a bit of contact, but yeah, had a drag race down the back straight, and then I managed to get the traction in the last sector, and that's what changed it. So yeah, I was just praying for the white not to come out. So yeah.
Joe, that's 3 in a row in SKUSA competition. How does that sound?
Surprising, to be honest, because we've had to work so hard. Like, okay, Tucson was really good, but then the race a few weeks ago in Trackhouse wasn't easy. Hasn't been easy here because of this guy. And yeah, no, managed to close it out today, so I'm happy.
Congrats on the win, Joe. Thank you.
Cheers.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Here, Joe Turney victorious from the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. A number of the drivers now trying to start to dry things off, but the rain's still coming down as we get ready to close off the main event coverage. The coverage, though, continues. A number of the drivers you'll hear from throughout, not just this Pro X30 main, but equally throughout the rest of the paddock as well. Let's go back down here to the next one with Diego Ramos.
Thank you, Diego. Again, you are still looking for that first win here in 2026 in X30 and just came up a couple of corners short. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was a tough race. You know, like I had it in my hand, and then I did a mistake over there, drive off track. Then he called me again. Then I was able to pull a gap again, and then I think he figured out the last sector better than me, and he was getting every time closer. And we had like a bit of fight in the end. Then again, I drove off track over there, and then he was able to cross me, and then he blocked the last sector, and I just saw the line that he was doing there just better than me. And then, yeah, unfortunately, feel bad for the team. You know, like we had this in our hand, and then I messed it up. But it's weird because France told me that in the lifetime I just won. They went like longer in the track, but we'll see. We're gonna see what the guys are doing.
Thank you, Diego.
Thank you.
Diego Ramos, so close to that big-time win here at TKG Imperial Arts American home race, if you will. Joe Turney victorious, a points lead to boot as well. The rain continues to fall here at the end of what has been a successful Spring Nationals, Rob. Phenomenal day of action here so far, and we have enjoyed calling all the action.
It's been fantastic. Anytime you get a wet weather race, you get the talented drivers like this to show you what they're really made of. That's what I love about wet weather racing.
Well, this one, an instant classic between Joe Turney and Diego Ramos. Coverage continues on the Perico Pitbox post-race show. You'll hear from a number more of your stars. For now, we'll see you on the other side of that break as we continue to bring the action here. Rob Howden, Xander Clemens, myself, Caleb Vieska, and the rest of our KC crew in the run to podiums.